Chapter 1052. Bang! Qi-Wen is directly thrown to the ground by Luo Yunxiao. Mu Yin has a faint smile. Young martial uncle's spiritual pet is really interesting. I heard that spiritual pets generally resemble their masters. Since the masters have so many romantic affairs, it's not strange for spiritual pets to like beauties. Qi-Wen raises her flattened little head and fearlessly continues. Oh, big beauty. Have you also read those stories about the masters? Are they good to watch? Are they exciting? Some of them were told to the writers after I, Master Qi-Wen, added oil and vinegar. Mu Yin bursts out laughing, looking at Luo Yunxiao's expressionless face, but overflowing with murderous aura. She faintly smiles. Then Mu Yin, I wish that young martial uncle's confidence will soon spread all over the world. You dare to say that this lady likes to peep? Peep your sister. I was sleeping well, but you guys disturbed my sleep with your chatter, and even implicated Jiang Xinyu to vent her anger on me. Now you even dare to say that I like to peep? Screw young martial uncle? Even if it's young martial uncle, I'll still do the same. After saying that, she turns around and leaves, dragging the stunned fourth sister and the others. In the courtyard, after Qi-Wen finishes speaking, she remembers what she just said. She shakily raises her head, grabs her head with her claws, and stutters. Master, just now. What Qi-Wen said, you didn't hear it, did you? Luo Yunxiao slowly hooks up the corners of her lips, revealing a clear and gentle smile. What do you think? Oh. Master, spare us, Outside the courtyard, Lung Yuma and the others are still in a state of shock. Only after walking far away did they wipe the cold sweat on their foreheads. Little sister, you're too powerful. You dare to talk to young martial uncle like that. The eldest brother is so scared that he stutters like the second brother. Little junior sister, you've really eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall to even dare to offend little martial uncle. Mu Yin touches her nose. Is young martial uncle very scary? It's more than scary, it's very, very scary. Ling Yuxing screamed. You idiot! You're dead for sure. What if young martial uncle comes to settle the score with you? Mu Yin is really puzzled this time. It's just junior martial uncle. I don't see you guys being so afraid of master. Are you kidding me? Can master compare to youngest martial uncle? Lung Yuma looks at Mu Yin resentfully. 100 masters tied together are not as scary as a little martial uncle. Chu Moli coughed lightly. He went straight to the point and said, our carefree school doesn't have any income. It's all thanks to little martial uncle that we've managed to survive until today. This time, Mu Yin understood. The god of fortune of the Xiao Yao school, the only source of income. Of course, he couldn't afford to offend him, but the problem was that she had already offended him. What else could she do? He can't kill me in the middle of the night, right? Lung Yuma patted her shoulder. Little junior sister, you better pray for your own good fortune. After saying that, everyone looked at her with sympathy and pity. They shook their heads and turned to leave. Mu Yin. What the hell? Making her feel uneasy. Could it be that youngest martial uncle would really take revenge on her? She doesn't know if what Lung Yuma and the others said yesterday was too unbelievable. Mu Yin had a nightmare of being pranked by Luo Yunxiao for a whole night. When she woke up the next day, she still felt listless. She went to Tingguang ruins to take a look and found that there was still no talisman sold. Chapter 1053. As soon as she walks out of the door, Mayan sees her master, Shiqing, waiting outside. Mayan's heart leaps with joy. She thinks to herself, Master is here. Even if little martial uncle gets angry out of humiliation and wants to retaliate, he can't retaliate too excessively, right? Unexpectedly, when Shiqing sees her, he immediately steps forward and holds her hand. With a solemn expression, he says, Yin Yin, my good disciple, master has to go into seclusion during this time. I don't have time to teach you cultivation. Mayan opens her mouth to say, it doesn't matter if you don't teach me. In any case, she's learning the skills of a Shun musician, and no one else can teach her. Who knew that Shiqing would interrupt what she was about to say? And the next sentence was like a bolt from the blue. striking her in the head. Fortunately, your little martial uncle will be staying in the sect for a long time. Master has already talked to your little martial uncle. These days, your little martial uncle will teach you swordsmanship. Wait a minute. Mayan is so startled that she suddenly raises her voice. Are you kidding me? Shiqing smiles and says, Oh, I know that you little girls like Yunxiao's appearance. You must be overjoyed to hear that he's letting you learn swordsmanship from him. Overjoyed your sister. She's scared to death. Master, I don't want to learn swordsmanship from little martial uncle. I can practice by myself. Shiqing looks at her with a clear expression. Little girl, this old man has seen through your thoughts, so I'm sorry. Don't worry, this old man won't laugh at you. Your little martial uncle's swordsmanship and cultivation are very, very powerful, even far higher than Master's. He has always been unwilling to teach people. Even your fellow apprentices have never received his guidance. This time, when Master went to ask him to teach you, I thought he wouldn't agree. I didn't expect that he would readily agree. Yin Yin, my good disciple, you're really lucky. Lucky what? She's going to be in big trouble. What readily agree? This Luo Yunxiao absolutely 100% wants to retaliate against her. Mayan shivers and promptly says, Master, I really don't need anyone to teach me. I can practice swordsmanship by myself. My swordsmanship is very good. Shiqing gives her a blank look and says to himself, What kind of swordsmanship is that? You're just blindly slashing with a sword. What a waste of your powerful talent and strength. Shiqing is about to open his mouth to persuade her when a magnetic and deep male voice suddenly rings out from behind Mayan. You think that your swordsmanship is very good? Why don't we have a match? Mu Yin suddenly turns around. He saw that Luo Yunxiao was already standing there and looking at him with an indifferent expression. He was wearing a lake blue robe embroidered with cloud patterns and a silver jade belt around his waist, which made him look even taller and more graceful. As for that face, under the morning light, it looked even more like the dawn of spring. His sideburns looked like they were cut by a knife, and he was incomparably handsome. But when Mayan sees this face, she only feels the blue veins on her forehead throbbing with pain. The nightmare from last night seemed to come back to him at this moment. Little martial uncle must be joking. How would I dare to fight you? Luo Yunxiao took a step forward and said with a faint smile, Or are you afraid? Are you afraid of losing too badly? Mu Yin was provoked by this and immediately said, Let's compete. Damn it. I'm not afraid of you. The result of the competition was naturally Mu Yan's crushing defeat. Even if Luo Yunxiao suppresses his own cultivation to the same level as Mu Yin, first stage abstinence. Chapter 1054. But under Luo Yunxiao's storm-like sword attacks, Mu Yin still has nowhere to escape. In just 10 short rounds, she already has no strength to fight back and is knocked down to the ground. Luo Yunxiao sheathes her sword and looks down at her. Wait for me here tomorrow at 5 in the morning. Saying that, she turns around and leaves without the slightest hesitation. Mu Yin sits in a daze for a long time before she lets out a long sigh. She has always been arrogant, but arrogance doesn't mean conceit and stupidity. In the fight with Luo Yunxiao just now, she clearly felt the difference between her and Luo Yunxiao. Even if they are both in the first stage of Anidia, even if she uses her domain. However, compared to this man, there is still a world of difference. She still has a long way to go if she wants to become a true powerhouse. Who the hell is that guy? Why is he so annoying? Qi Huang's indignant voice suddenly comes to her ears. Mu Yin comes back to herself and stands up from the ground. She says with a smile, My younger martial uncle, Luo Yunxiao, the most handsome man under the heavens in those stories you threw in? Bah, he's not that good looking. If this sage could go out, he would definitely sweep the world. How could he be worse than him? She hears Qi Huang gnashing his teeth, his voice filled with envy and jealousy. Mu Yin bursts into laughter. Qi Xiaowang, you're not jealous that younger martial uncle is better looking than you, are you? Jun Mu Yin. Qi Huang stomps his feet in anger. Are you blind? How could that sissy human be better looking than this sage? Good. Qi Huang, are the most handsome and most beautiful in the world, okay? Mu Yin simply laughs until her stomach hurts. She didn't expect Qi Huang to be a tool spirit that cares so much about appearance. But when she first met Di Mingzhu, she didn't see this guy like to compare beauty with others. Why does he explode when he sees Luo Yunxiao? Is it because they're the same type? Qi Xiaowang actually has the nerve to say that Luo Yunxiao is a sissy. Wasn't he even more beautiful than Luo Yunxiao? Wasn't he more androgynous? The next day, at 5 in the morning, Mu Yin arrives at the place where she suffered a crushing defeat against Luo Yunxiao yesterday. However, the surroundings were empty. Not even a shadow of a person could be seen. Mu Yin stands there quietly, neither leaving nor looking for him. About a quarter of an hour later, a clear and pleasant male voice rang out in the pitch-black night sky. "Your willpower is pretty good." Mu Yin smiles faintly. "If I want to learn the sword from Junior Martial Uncle, I naturally have this bit of determination." As soon as she finished speaking, something flashed before her eyes. An ethereal figure had already appeared in the morning mist. The starless and moonless dawn was so dim and muddy. However, when this white-robed man appeared, everything in the world seemed to have been cleansed. Just looking at that figure made him feel like he was in a dream, unable to break free. But the bottom of Mayan's eyes are clear. There's no surprise, no infatuation. His eyes were filled with determination as he looked at the person who was slowly approaching him. The determination to become stronger. The corners of Luo Yunxiao's mouth curled up slightly as she looked at the girl. "I thought you didn't want to learn the sword from me?" Mu Yin touches her nose, speaking very calmly. "That's because I was afraid that Junior Martial Uncle would retaliate against me. But now that I've discovered that you have genuine talent, even if I get retaliated against, it's worth it." Chapter 1055. Or else she's afraid of him, like a mouse is afraid of a cat. He has never seen someone like Mayan. She peeps at him calmly, rebukes him calmly, and now she says that she's afraid of his revenge and wants to learn swordsmanship from him. Luo Yunxiao takes a deep look at the girl in front of him. It's as if at this moment, he just realized that this girl's appearance is so peerless. She's not the least bit inferior to him. However, people who get close to Mayan are often attracted by her unique aura, and then notice that pair of seductive and clear peach blossom eyes. On the contrary, her devastatingly beautiful face was often overlooked by others. Luo Yunxiao takes a step back, raises his hand, and a round iron plate is thrown on the ground. Mayan blinks, her face full of doubt. What's this? As soon as this thought flashes through her mind, she sees Luo Yunxiao throw a stone in the direction of the iron plate. The stone whistles and flies out. However, before the stone can get within 5 meters of the iron plate, it suddenly shines, overflowing with murderous intent. Swish, swish, swish. In an instant, the stone is crushed into powder. Not even dregs are left. Mayan swallows. This is a sword array. Luo Yunxiao looks at her in surprise. You're quite knowledgeable. After a pause, he continues. This sword array only covers a radius of 5 meters. Once you enter the sword array, you won't be able to come out until the spiritual power of the plate is exhausted. Even if these sword auras chop you into minced meat, I won't let you out. Mayan swallows again, her face a little pale. Just now, when the stone was thrown, she clearly saw it. There are at least 30 sword auras in the sword array. Within a small radius of 5 meters, there was almost no space for her to move or dodge in the face of 30 powerful sword chis. Luo Yunxiao looks at her mockingly. Afraid? Young martial uncle wants me to be afraid? Mayan looks at Luo Yunxiao. The corner of her mouth slowly hooks up into a stubborn sneer. If this is young martial uncle's way of revenge, I have to say that you've found the right way. In Mayan's dictionary, the word afraid has never existed. After saying that, she doesn't look at Luo Yunxiao again and strides into the sword array. Luo Yunxiao was stunned. He thought that the girl would beg for mercy. At the very least, they would ask him to reduce his sword chi by 10. Based on the battle between Luo Yunxiao and Mu Yin yesterday, he knew that 20 sword chi should be Mu Yan's limit. Unexpectedly, Mu Yin did not even bargain and directly entered the sword formation. What a stubborn little girl. However, with the cultivation of the first level of Anidia, could the little girl really come out alive after entering the blood slaughter sword formation that even a golden core stage expert could not withstand? Luo Yunxiao raised her eyebrows and waved her hand. A table and a chair appeared behind her. On the table was a fragrant spirit wine and a lustrous and translucent zither. Looking at the sword formation that was filled with sword light and murderous aura, as well as the young girl shuttling through the sword chi, Luo Yunxiao poured a cup full of spirit wine and drained it. Then, she reached out and lightly plucked the strings of her zither. The morning light came out from the east and shone on the land behind the mountain of the Xiao Yao school. Amidst the lush mountains and clear waters, there was a white-robed man with an unparalleled elegance and grace, playing the zither with his bare hands. Chapter 1056. This was supposed to be a scene of peace and tranquility, a scene so beautiful that it would enchant anyone's heart. But when they got closer, they realized that the man's posture was beautiful, but what kind of demonic music was being played by those slender hands? Those who heard it wanted to pass out immediately. As for the girl who was dancing with the sword, she was surrounded by a murderous aura. Her body was covered with sword marks, and her light-colored clothes were dyed red with blood. Her weak body passed through the murderous sword light, as if she would be crushed into pieces at any time. In the Xiao Yao school, the disciples were hiding in their rooms, covering their heads with quilts and wailing. What's going on? Why is Junior Uncle playing the zither again? Junior Uncle only plays the zither when he's in a bad mood. That bastard dared to mess with Junior Uncle. Master. I beg you, quickly tell youngest martial uncle to stop playing. Bastard. Who doesn't know that anyone who disturbs Yunxiao when he's playing the zither will be cut into pieces? Do you want to kill me? If you want to go by yourself. While they were wailing, suddenly, bang, the entire Xiao Yao sect was shaken. Then, the ear-piercing demonic sound also stopped. What's going on? What's going on? Everyone rushed to the back of the mountain. What was originally a huge piece of green turf now had a huge hole blown into it. A pale-faced girl covered in blood was crawling out of the pit shakily. Junior sister, how did you get hurt so badly? Junior sister, who hurt you? I'm going to avenge you. Muyan pushed away the people of the Xiao Yao school, covered the bleeding wound on her shoulder, and walked to Luo Yunxiao step by step. Her face was as white as the snow in winter, but her eyes were brighter than the hottest sunlight in summer. Junior martial uncle, do I pass the test now? Luo Yunxiao looked up at her. For the first time, his indifferent face was moved. He had seen this girl 3 times, and each time he was surprised. But this time it wasn't just a surprise, it was a shock. The blood slaughter sword formation. He had thought that she would not be able to withstand the blood slaughter sword formation. He was even prepared to rescue her in a quarter of an hour. He did not expect her to break the blood-slaughtering sword formation and even destroy the formation plate. At the last moment, when she destroyed the array disc, the domain that erupted made Luo Yunxiao tremble from the depths of her soul. This was a girl with unimaginable talent. This was a cultivator who was born to stand at the peak of power. Luo Yunxiao glanced at the wounds on her body and slowly opened her mouth. Her voice was inexplicably low and hoarse. 3 days from now, I'll start teaching you swordsmanship. Every day, we'll start at 5 in the morning and end at 9 in the morning. With just this one sentence, the coldness and stubbornness on Mayan's face all turns into a bright and beautiful smile. Because she knew that Luo Yunxiao hadn't agreed to teach her for the sake of revenge, nor was it to play tricks on her. Instead, he was really going to teach her sword techniques. She bowed slightly to Luo Yunxiao. Thank you, Junior Martial Aunt. Junior Sister, you're going to learn the sword from Junior Martial Uncle? That's great. Chapter 1057. Although she was covered in cuts and bruises, it made everyone's heart ache. But knowing that this was a test given to her by little Martial Uncle, and that she finally passed the test, everyone is sincerely happy for her. Even Chu Moli whispers, in the Xiojin continent, if little Martial Uncle claims to be number one in swordsmanship, no one dares to claim to be second. You learn well. Mu Yan feels everyone's loyal congratulations for her, and also shows a faint smile. Oh, whoa, great beauty. Your smile is making this lord's heart melt. Quickly let this lord have a fragrant one. Chi-Wen has just woken up from her sleep when she sees Mu Yan's enchanting smile. She screams and flies towards her. However, just as she flies into the air, she is caught by a slender, fair, well-proportioned hand. Oh, master, let me go. I want to be in love with Mei Yin Yin. Bastard master, are you envious and jealous that I have skin contact with Mei Yin Yin? So you're taking revenge on me? Oh, master, I know I was wrong. Spare me, In the next few days, Mu Yin spends her days learning swordsmanship with Luo Yunxiao, healing in the afternoon, and selling talismans in the Tianguang ruins at night. Luo Yunxiao is really a very strict teacher. Every day, mine would be covered with cuts and bruises. But at the same time, Mu Yan's strength is also advancing at a rapid pace. If she meets Qin Yizhou again at this time, even if she doesn't use her domain, she can still beat the other party up. Every time Qiuqiu helps Mu Yin heal, he would shed tears. Oh, beautiful uncle is too much. Every time he injures you so badly. Qiuqiu doesn't like beautiful uncle anymore. If little brother knew that beautiful sister was so seriously injured, he would be sad to death. Mu Yin gently touches little Phoenix's head and softly says, Qiuqiu, don't cry. I'm fine. If you want to become stronger, this pain and suffering is nothing. Only when I become stronger can I go anywhere in the Xiojin world, can I find Xiaobao, right? After being comforted by her for a while, little Phoenix stops sobbing and crying. Qi Huang is so angry that he almost overturns everything in the space. This bastard. Hurting a woman, he's not a thing. Mine found it funny and said, Junior Martial Uncle was only a little strict with me. He never really hurt me. Qi Xiao Wang, thank you for your concern. Who cares about you? Qi Huang exploded once more. Who asked you to be this exalted one's master? Slapping your face is the same as slapping this exalted one's face. That's why I can't bear it. It's not because I care about you. This twisted brat. Mine laughs despite herself. Seeing her like this, Qi Huang flew into a rage out of humiliation and said, Didn't you speak up for Luo Yunxiao because he's good-looking? Don't you already have a man? Could it be that you want to fall in love with someone else? Why you? If you fall in love with someone else, why don't you choose me? Don't tell me I'm not as good-looking as that gigolo Luo Yunxiao. Wait a minute. Why is the topic back to who is good-looking again? Mu Yin stroked her forehead and said with a headache, Qi Xiao Huang, don't mess around. You better look at the most handsome and charming. Okay? Liar. If this lord is the best looking, then why didn't you choose this lord? Qi Huang gritted his teeth. You really still fell for that pretty boy. What's so good about that pretty boy? Isn't he just a bag of skin? This lord is going to scratch that face of his. Chapter 1058. Young Martial Uncle's strength is unfathomable. Don't give me trouble. What's more, young Martial Uncle is my Martial Uncle and also half a master to me. How could I like him? The one I like from the past to the present, from the past life to this life, has always been Di Mingju alone. Qi Huang turns his head, looking at her in disbelief. Mu Yin has finished treating her wounds. Looking at his awkward appearance, she can't help but smile and rub his head. I've never seen you so hostile towards Di Mingju before. Why do you hate young Martial Uncle so much? In fact, Mu Yin hated Luo Yunxiao in the beginning. But after getting along with her for some time, she knows. Although young Martial Uncle is a strict and unpredictable person, once he makes a promise, he will definitely do his best. Her rapid progress in this period of time is all thanks to young Marshall Uncle's guidance. Moreover, she bought the book about young Marshall Uncle and showed it to everyone. This behavior is really too much. But in the end, young Marshall Uncle only retaliated a little and didn't do anything to her. In fact, he's a good person in nature. Or it should be said that the entire Xiaorao sect is very good. It allowed her, who was alone, to find a sense of belonging in the Xiojin continent. Qi Huang frowns and murmurs, "I don't know why, but when I see him, I feel unhappy." It's not disgust and contempt towards humans, nor is it hatred to kill. It's a kind of unhappiness that repels people for no reason. Mu Yin smiles and shakes her head, about to say something. Suddenly, there's a commotion outside. Third brother, how are you?" Mu Yin quickly walks out of the room and sees Luo Yu hurrying towards Chu Moli's room. She quickly pulls him back. "What's wrong with third brother?" Luo Yu frowns, her eyes full of worry, but she still advises, "Sixth sister, it's okay. That's third brother's old illness. He will act up on the 15th of every month. He'll be fine after this night." Mu Yin wants to follow, but Luo Yu stops her. He says awkwardly, "Little sister, when third brother acts up, it's a little scary. You shouldn't go." Right at this moment, a heart-wrenching roar came from Chu Moli's room. That roar contained boundless resentment, pain, and fury. It was like a wild beast that had fallen into a hopeless situation. That kind of desolation, that kind of unwillingness, and that kind of despair. Mu Yin frowns and brushes aside the falling rain. "I'll go take a look." When she pushed open the door to Chu Moli's room, a fishy smell assaulted her senses. "Get out! All of you get out! I don't want to see you!" Chu Moli, who was lying on the bed, let out a sharp roar as he struggled hysterically. However, his body was tightly bound. Eldest martial brother Yun Ruhan and second martial brother Qin Jiao were carefully using knives to cut open the skin on his thighs, calves, and soles. As the skin split open, streams of dark red blood flowed out. The stench was coming from the blood. Chu Moli, who was usually gentle and refined, was currently tied to the bed, his hair disheveled. He cut a sorry figure. He did not have the slightest bit of his usual calmness and black-bellied self, only full of desolation and humiliation, as if feeling Mayan's line of sight. Chapter 1059. Mu Yin felt as if something was tugging at her heart. Her third senior brother, who had lost all his dignity, freedom, and health, was clearly in a much more embarrassing state than usual. But Mu Yin felt that this was the real third senior brother, Chu Moli. She also understood why he was clearly bright and cheerful, but the paintings he drew were bloody and terrifying, full of despair and hatred that connected to hell. Mu Yin stepped forward, ignoring Chu Moli's roars and resistance, and grasped his pulse. However, when she checked his pulse, she only felt that the spiritual power in his body was in chaos. It was as if there was a terrible power that imprisoned all his cultivation and spiritual power somewhere, and it could erupt at any time. "Junior sister, don't waste your strength." Yun Ruhan shook her head with a bitter smile. "Third junior brother isn't poisoned, nor injured. He's cursed." "Cursed?" "Junior sister, it's better if you don't know." Yun Ruhan patted her shoulder. "You go out first. Wait until tomorrow. Third brother will be back to normal." Qin Jiao tightly squeezed Chu Moli's pale, slender, and powerless legs. Her eyes reddened as she choked with sobs. "Third brother, don't be afraid. This time, you can also get through it. You won't die." Chu Moli suddenly bit his lips, blood seeping out from between his teeth. His eyes were crimson as he endured the bone-piercing pain and hatred, but he still couldn't stop the despair from turning into tears. "You guys let junior sister out," he said in a hoarse voice, emphasizing each word. Yun Ruhan wiped her tears. "Junior sister, you go out first. Don't look." Mu Yin took a deep breath. Not only did she not go out, she took out the Tian and Mo Qin instead. Her slender fingers pressed on the strings, gently plucking them. The floating like a dream skill was activated bit by bit. The sound of the zither flowed, and the spiritual power flowed, as if an invisible barrier was wrapping around Chu-Moli. It blocked all the pain, sorrow, hatred, and despair outside the barrier. Third senior brother, I still can't relieve your pain right now. Then, please temporarily forget about this desperate situation in reality in your sweet dreams. No matter what that curse is, one day, I will definitely get rid of it for you. On the messy bed, Chu-Moli closed his eyes. His eyebrows and the corners of his eyes were still filled with pain, but they were slowly being dyed with tranquility and peace. Chinjio, who was currently holding Chu-Moli's leg, suddenly cried out in alarm. The blood has turned red. It's turning red. That's great. Third bro has finally made it. Made it through this ordeal. Sob, sob, sob. OL, 3i, I've made it. Yun Ruhan raised her head in surprise and looked at Mayan. Junior sister, what did you just do? The zither you played just now. Mu Yin wipes the sweat from her forehead and shows a weak smile. This was the first time she had played Fleeting Life Like a Dream, using only spiritual energy, and it was the level 3 version of Fleeting Life Like a Dream. Chu-Moli's mind was also too firm, and he was too immersed in his own pain and hatred. As a result, this dream was very tiring for her to weave. Mu Yin smiled faintly. I just let third brother have a sweet dream, but it doesn't solve the root of the problem. Eldest brother, what is this curse? Chapter 1060. Mayan glances at Chinjio, then looks at Luo Yu next to her. Chinjio lowers her head, avoiding her line of sight. Luo Yu also has a confused expression. Clearly, Luo Yu also doesn't know what the curse is. She frowns, but in the end, she doesn't ask anything. She turns around and returns to her room. As soon as the exhausted Mayan returns to her room, she falls into a deep sleep. She doesn't realize that a gaze has been watching Chu-Moli's room since she was playing the zither. Until she leaves, it still follows her back, until she completely disappears behind the door. Master, is she the person you're looking for? Chi Wen's voice no longer has its usual vulgarity, leaving only a deep solemnity. Luo Yunxiao looks up at the silver moon and stars, his handsome face without any expression. However, his pitch-black eyes were bottomless and seemed to contain ripples. Just when Chi Wen thinks that her master won't answer, she hears the man's low and faintly discernible voice. Perhaps in the unseen world, no one can escape. The next morning, Mayan yawns and goes out. She's about to go to Tianguang ruins to learn swordsmanship from her junior martial uncle. As soon as she goes out, she gets a fright. She sees a handsome man sitting outside her door. The man is sitting in a wheelchair with an easel in front of him. He's holding a brush in his hand, painting on the canvas. But the problem is that it's dawn, and the direction he's facing is pitch black. There's nothing there. Is he painting a ghost? Third brother, have you recovered from your illness? Mayan cautiously asks. Why did you come out to paint so early? Why didn't you sleep a bit more? Chu-Moli's hands don't stop, and his eyes don't even glance at her. However, he said indifferently, I heard what you said in the zither yesterday. What? Chu-Moli turns around to look at her. Mayan doesn't know how to describe that look. It's tsundere, expectant, and also has a trace of neurotic willfulness. You said that one day, the curse on me will be removed? Mayan's body stiffens, and she touches her nose. Third brother, your hearing is really good. I thought you were already immersed in a dream. Chu-Moli coldly snorts. Since you said it, you have to take responsibility. Cough. Third senior brother should at least tell me what the curse is. When Mu Yin asked this, the expression on Chu-Moli's face visibly dimmed. He stared blankly at the dark night sky for a long time before he said with flagging interest, Little junior sister, I was just joking with you just now. If you're late, young martial uncle won't let you off. Mu Yin frowns. Why were eldest brother and third brother unwilling to mention the curse? Just how terrifying was the curse? Was it scarier than gut-piercing poison or goo worms? She hesitantly wanted to leave, but just as she took a step forward, she couldn't help but turn back. Third senior brother, I really can't remove the curse on you right now. Word by word, she said resolutely, but in the future, every time you have an attack, I will definitely be by your side and weave your dreams with the music of the zither, so that you will suffer less. Even if I can't be by your side, I will definitely think of a way to reduce your pain. Do you trust me? Chumoli suddenly raised his head and stared straight at her. You, who exactly are you? Chapter 1061. I forgot to tell third senior brother. My profession is a doctor. I use the zither as medicine and sound to treat illnesses. I'm a music doctor. Chumoli stares at her blankly for a long time. What's churning in his mind isn't his own illness, nor is it the miraculous zither music that can alleviate his pain. Rather, you're a fucking doctor. You can beat the whole East Sex Elder Su Ching, who's at the 9th rank of fasting. You can make little martial uncle treat you differently and make an exception to teach you swordsmanship, a peerless fighting genius. You're telling me that your main profession is a doctor? Mu Yin sees Chu Moli's blank expression, his complexion alternating between green and white. She doesn't know why he's bewitched. She can't help but shake her head, then turns around and rushes to the back of the mountain. In fact, she's also very afraid of little martial uncle. If she's really late, little martial uncle will definitely punish her until she has nothing left to live for. But just as she takes a step, she hears Chu Moli's soft voice. Little junior sister, this is for you. Mu Yin stares blankly. Turning around, she sees that Chu Moli has already taken down the drawing paper and handed it to Mu Yin. He's giving her a drawing? But what can third senior brother draw against a mass of darkness? Could it be that it was that bloody and terrifying skeleton in hell again? Thinking like this, Mu Yin reluctantly takes the drawing. However, the moment she sees the drawing, she's stunned. It's not a bloody hell with rolling lava. It's also not a naked body of the whole East sect being played with. Instead, it's a scene of a white-clothed girl performing a sword dance. Green mountains and clear waters, a gentle breeze. The girl holding the long sword is clearly still, but it's as if she can see her nimble and dancing figure. The white-clothed girl only shows a vague side of her face, but Mu Yin recognizes that it's her. Moreover, it's her in the eyes of eldest senior brother, second senior brother, third senior brother, fourth senior sister, fifth senior brother, and seventh senior brother. It's like the deepest expectations and love of the older brothers who protect their little sister and are proud of her little sister. Every stroke, all the feelings have already been integrated into the drawing, ready to burst out. The tips of Mayan's brows and the corners of her eyes are slowly tainted with a faint smile. She turns to look at Chu Moli. I didn't expect third senior brother to be able to draw a normal drawing. I thought you only knew how to draw skeletons, pools of blood, and naked bodies. Chu Moli's face, which had originally been anticipating her reaction, immediately darkened. He glared at her for a long time, unable to say anything. From the moment Mu Yin saw this senior brother, he had been wearing a mask. Seeing him reveal his true emotions, he couldn't help but burst into laughter. However, she had just laughed for a while when Chu Mo Li's cold voice entered her ears. Junior sister, you're already late. Tingguang Ruins. The lousy is #1 under the heavens shop is still deserted, and the talismans that Mayan has drawn have already reached several hundred, but not a single one has been sold. The reason was not that the first and second grade talismans were so unpopular. It was because the talismans in the lower 3 districts of the Tingguang Ruins were almost all purchased and monopolized by the earth-shattering, heaven-shocking shop. Mu Yin had also received a request from the earth-shattering and heaven-shocking shop, asking her to sell all her talismans to them at a low price. First-grade talismans, which could have been sold for 3 to 5 crystals, were only sold for 2 crystals. The price of a second-grade talisman was even lowered to 8 crystals by them. Mu Yin originally hated Lu Ruoxuan, So how could she sell the talismans to the mountain-breaking sect shop at a low price? So she directly refused. Chapter 1062. Now, all the practitioners in the lower 3 districts will come to my earth-shattering and sky-shocking shop to buy talismans. I'd like to see when the talismans of your 1-star garbage shop will be sold out. Hence, from then on, the already scarce customers in the store were all gone. During this period, Mayan also encountered people who wanted to enter Mayan's shop to buy talismans, but they were dragged away by their companions. What good stuff can a 1-star shop like this have? Let me tell you, if you want to buy talismans, you have to go to the earth-shattering shop. There is a talisman drawn by the sacred dance of ice. That talisman was praised by Master Inshio. But the talismans in the earth-shattering and sky-shocking shop are more expensive. It can't be helped even if it's expensive. After all, the quality is good. Moreover, you might not know this, but the mountain-breaking sect has announced that all the talismans in the lower 3 districts will be sold by the earth-shattering sky-shocking shop. If anyone buys talismans from other shops, they won't be able to buy talismans from Bing Ruo anymore. Ah, there's such a thing? Then I'd better not buy it. This kind of small shop only has 1st and 2nd grade talismans at most. If I want to buy 3rd grade talismans in the future, and the shop refuses to sell them to me, what should I do? Listening to the conversation between the two of them, Mu Yin felt extremely aggrieved. So when he woke up in the morning, his face was a little ugly. However, Luo Yunxiao didn't know what was wrong with her today. She actually didn't want to teach her how to practice the sword, and instead threw out another array disc. It was also the Blood Slaughter sword formation, but the last time mine broke the sword formation, it was 30 sword cheese, but this time it was 40. Don't be fooled by the fact that there were only 10 more. But this was within a 5-meter radius that couldn't be any smaller. The 40 sword cheese were like a magnificent army, with thousands of men and horses whizzing over, directly trampling an ant like Mu Yin into pieces. Once again, Mu Yin falls into a desperate situation where she feels like she's about to be hacked into pieces. Right at this moment, a sharp, ear-piercing, demonic sound that could drive one mad entered his ears. She was already so angry that she was about to explode. Oh, what's going on? Why is Junior Master playing the zither again? I'm going crazy. Where's Junior Sister? Quickly let Junior Sister stop Junior Martial Uncle from playing the zither. At this time, shouldn't Little Martial Uncle be teaching Little Junior Sister how to practice the sword? Let's quickly go and see how Little Junior Sister provoked Little Martial Uncle. The people of the Xiao Yao sect covered their heads with their blankets. After a while, they couldn't hold it in anymore. One by one, they ran to the back of the mountain. Even if they begged, they would ask their youngest martial uncle to stop playing. However, before they could reach the back of the mountain, they heard another familiar rumbling sound. The few of them staggered and hurriedly rushed over. Then, as expected, he saw a familiar scene. A pit was blasted into the flat grassland behind the mountain. Little Junior Sister was covered in blood as she walked towards Luo Yunxiao with a sword in her hand. Just like last time, Luo Yunxiao had a table, a chair, a pot of wine, and a jade cup. Beside the jade cup was an ancient zither with a warm and translucent luster. Seeing Mu Yin approaching, Luo Yunxiao raised her head and looked at Mu Yin with a hint of helplessness. You destroyed another one of my array discs. Everyone's scalp went numb. That was the array disc of the Blood Slaughter sword formation. Even if there were 20 streaks of sword chi, they would still lose a layer of skin if they went in. Chapter 1063. Is Little Junior Sister still human? Everyone sighed and waited for Mu Yin to apologize to Little Martial Uncle. However, Mu Yin suddenly raised her sword and slashed at the zither on the table. With a clang, the zither strings broke and the wine pot trembled. The people of the Xiaoyao school were dumbfounded. They trembled like dog's tail grass in the winter wind. Heavens! Is Little Junior Sister crazy? She actually cut Little Martial Uncle's zither. Does she not want to live? Mu Yin raised her head and looked at Luo Yunxiao with clenched teeth. Little Martial Uncle, Is this called playing the zither? Even an ox playing the zither can't play like this. I was tortured by 10,000 swords in there, and you actually used this demonic sound to poison my ears. Don't you feel guilty? Gulp. The people of the Xiaoyao school swallowed. Little junior sister is so brave. She actually said that little martial uncle was playing the zither like an ox. Although they also felt that even if a cow plucked the strings, it would be better than little martial uncle's playing, but they didn't dare to say so. Luo Yunxiao looked down at her broken zither and frowned. Playing the zither like an ox? Are you saying that I'm not good? Mu Yin sneered and stepped forward to take the zither that had 3 of its strings cut off. Her fingers were slender, pale, and cold, and there was still congealed blood on her fingertips. But when she touched the remaining 4 strings, it suddenly seemed to come to life. Clink, clink, the melodious sound of the zither slowly sounded. From lingering and gentle, it became impassioned. The people of the Xiaoyao school were intoxicated and immersed in it, not willing to wake up. Right? This is the sound of the zither. This is music. Yun Ruhan and the others saw Mu Yin play the zither to help Chu Moli last night, so they knew that Mu Yan's zither skills were far more than that. Clap! Mu Yin suddenly slapped the zither in front of Luo Yunxiao and said word by word, "Did you hear that? This is called playing the zither. Don't use your demonic voice that can't even be compared to sawing wood to poison our ears. Little Master, Uncle." The faces of the people of the Xiaoyao school were flushed with excitement. Little junior sister is right. Little junior sister is mighty. Long live little junior sister. It was simply saying what they didn't dare to say. Luo Yunxiao's thick and long eyelashes drooped slightly, casting a faint silhouette on her slightly fair and lustrous cheeks. For some reason, he felt a sense of helplessness and grievance. The people of the Xiaoyao sect all gasped, feeling as if they had done something unforgivable. The anger, excitement, and the thought of forcing little Uncle Master not to play the zither disappeared without a trace at this moment. Even Mu Yin felt her scalp go numb, but her voice no longer had the same imposing manner as before. Your playing is really too awful. I'm just telling the truth. Jun Mayan, since you say that my playing is unpleasant. Luo Yunxiao raises her head, looks straight at Mu Yin, and slowly says, "Then why don't you teach me how to play the zither?" Mayan stares blankly. Teach him to play the zither? Why? She was as busy as a dog every day. How could she have time to teach him how to play the zither? Furthermore, it was obvious that Luo Yunxiao was tone deaf when he played that demonic tune. If she wanted to teach him how to play the zither, she might as well teach Shiwen. Maybe the chances of her teaching him would be higher. Luo Yunxiao says, "Oh." She reaches for the zither at the side and is about to strum it. "No, little Uncle Master." Yun Ruhan screams, don't play, I beg you." Little junior sister didn't say that she wouldn't teach. Little junior sister, don't you think so? Chapter 1064. The others also look like they are crying and begging. They were really frightened by little martial uncle's demonic voice. Mu Yan's mouth twitches. "I can teach you how to play the zither, but junior uncle, you have to promise me 2 conditions. Luo Yunxiao raises her eyebrows in surprise. "You really have a lot of demands." Mayan sneers. "Who told young martial uncle to give me a task as difficult as ascending to the heavens?" She can foresee that if she wants to teach junior uncle how to play the zither in the future, she will have to endure many terrifying demonic sounds. She is sacrificing herself for the benefit of thousands of families. What's wrong with asking for some conditions? Tell me. First, I want to learn arrays and talismans. Mu Yin says straightforwardly. "Okay, I will teach you." Luo Yunxiao nods. And the second? Mu Yin stares at his handsome face and doesn't speak for a long time. Just when Luo Yunxiao almost couldn't hold it anymore, she smiled and said, "The second condition is even simpler. As long as young Master Yunxiao goes to our old master is the #1 in the world and sits there for half a day, it's enough." "Oh!" The people of the Xiaorao sect suddenly gasp. They look at Mu Yin and Luo Yunxiao. Luo Yunxiao's lips are tight. No one can tell whether he is happy or angry. Everyone is in a cold sweat. Junior sister really dares to say it. Simply audacious to the extreme. She actually dares to ask junior uncle to stand for their shop. Oh, if junior uncle really stands for their shop will be rich and customers will come like clouds. But junior uncle, will he agree? Luo Yunxiao's cold eyes are fixed on Mu Yin. Mu Yin spreads out her hands. Junior uncle, you don't know the cost of daily necessities. Our Xiaoyao sect is so poor that we can't even feed ourselves. As a member of the Xiaorao sect, shouldn't you do something for the sect? You only need to sit outside the shop for half a day. You don't need to do anything, and this condition will be met. What do you think? Everyone gulped down a mouthful of saliva in unison. Little Uncle Master was actually quite doting on little junior sister. His tolerance towards his junior sister was also far higher than the rest of them. But this condition was a little too much. Little Martial Uncle wouldn't agree, right? That's impossible, right? However, if little Martial Uncle really agreed to it, then they wouldn't have to live like this anymore. Mine's eyes are also sparkling as she stares at Luo Yunxiao. She was really unhappy with being suppressed by Lu Ruoxuan and earth-shattering. However, no matter if it was her, the people in the old Masters #1 in the World Store, or the other people in the Xiaoyao sect, their popularity was too low. There was no way to break the monopoly of the mountain-breaking sect. However, things would be different if little Martial Uncle were to take action. That was the world-famous young Master Yunxiao. He was publicly recognized as the most handsome man in the cultivation world, and the man that all female cultivators wanted to marry. As long as little Martial Uncle stood in front of the shop, he would definitely defeat Lu Ruoxuan and the mountain-breaking sect in less than 2 hours. Thinking of this, the light and expectation in Mu Yan's eyes become a bit stronger. Just when everyone in the Xiaoyao sect thought that their junior Martial Uncle would never agree, Luo Yunxiao looks deeply at Mu Yan, the corners of her mouth hooking up into a faint smile. In an instant, it was as if a spring breeze was caressing them and hundreds of flowers were blooming. Chapter 1065 Tingguang Ruins. Lu Ruoxuan gloomily walked on the streets, her face full of worry. Many male cultivators from the mountain-breaking sect surrounded her. They were all attentive and concerned about her. Junior sister, third-grade talismans are hard to draw. It's normal that you can't draw one in a short time. That's right. It's already very rare for others to be able to draw a second-grade talisman at your age, but you're already able to draw a second-grade talisman in 2 hours now. With such natural talent, who wouldn't say you're a genius? Lu Ruoxuan finally revealed a trace of a smile after being pursued by them, but she still sighed and said, "But Grandmaster Yin's injuries were able to improve because of the third-grade talisman I drew. I want to draw those third-grade talismans again, so that Master Yin's injuries can be completely healed, and I can bring glory to the mountain-breaking sect." As she spoke, a layer of mist covered her eyes. But when I drew a third-grade talisman that time, it was a sudden flash of inspiration. Now, if I want to draw a third-grade talisman again, it's already impossible for me to do so. Sob. I don't want to disappoint Master Yin, and I don't want to embarrass my senior brothers and master. Junior sister, don't cry. How could you embarrass the mountain-breaking sect? You're the pride of the mountain-breaking sect. The mountain-breaking sect senior brothers comforted her. Look at our earth-shattering sky shop. Every day, there's a long line of people wanting to buy talismans. This is all because of your reputation. That's right, the lower 3 districts of the Tingguang Ruins have been monopolized by the mountain-breaking sect. The other shops either supply us with talismans, or they can't sell them. There are many people trying to curry favor with the mountain-breaking sect. This is all because of you, junior sister Ruoxuan. You're the pride of the mountain-breaking sect. Lu Ruoxuan smiled through her tears. Really? Of course. The senior brother was about to pat his chest and promise. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the long line outside the earth-shattering sky shop. Then the cultivators who wanted to buy talismans, regardless of gender, all rushed in the same direction. In the blink of an eye, there was not a single person outside the earth-shattering sky shop. What? What was going on? One of Lu Ruoxuan's senior brothers grabbed a guest who was about to run away and asked in surprise, "What are you doing? Why aren't you lining up? Don't you know that there's a second-grade talisman drawn by junior sister, Sacred Dance of Eyes, for sale today?" Bing Ra? What Yinwu? Not to mention a second-grade talisman, even a third-grade talisman is not as important as my young master Yin Xiao. Quickly let go of me. Any later, and all the talismans in young master Yun Zhao's shop will be snatched clean. With that said, the man shook off his senior brother's hand and dashed towards the direction where the heads were surging like lightning. As he ran, he said, "I'm really a fucking fool, queuing up to buy some second-grade talisman in this broken shop. If I miss the chance to see young Master Yin Xiao, I'll really regret it for the rest of my life." Lu Ruoxuan and her senior and junior brothers were stunned when they heard this. Then, Lu Ruoxuan's eyes suddenly lit up. "Sir Yun Xiao, could it be the most handsome man in the world, Luo Yun Xiao? He actually came to Tianguang Ruins?" Even Lu Ruoxuan's senior brother excitedly opened the Tianguang Ruins popularity ranking. Chapter 1066. That means that Luo Yunxiao is indeed in Tianguang Ruins at the moment. Young Master Yin Xiao is a certified user of Tianguang Ruins, and his popularity is far ahead of everyone in the upper, middle, and lower districts. Many people want to meet him, but it's harder than ascending to heaven. Young Master Yin Xiao hasn't been to Tianguang Ruins for more than half a year. It's no wonder that everyone went crazy when he suddenly appeared today. Quick, let's go and see the legendary young Master Yin Xiao. If we can curry favor with him. Lu Ruoxuan's eyes are shining, as if there's a fire burning inside. Under the urging of her fellow apprentices, she tidied up her clothes and quickly followed them. The old master is number 1 under the heavens shop is currently closed. But outside the door, it's already crowded with people. Is young Master Yin Xiao in this shop? Open the door. Open the door. We want to see young Master Yin Xiao. Why is the name of the shop, "The Old Master is number 1 under the heavens," so annoying? No matter. It's a shop where young Master Yin Xiao has appeared. Let's pay attention to it first. What is this shop selling? Some say it's selling talismans, and some say it's selling rubbish. Oh, who cares what's selling? Anyway, it's a shop where young Master Yin Xiao has been. Even if it's a broken broom, this lady will buy it back. Young Master Yin Xiao, come out. We want to see young Master Yin Xiao. In the shop, Yin Ruhan looks at the scene outside and gasps. Although he already knew that young martial uncle is very popular and has a high reputation. But isn't this too frighteningly high? The key is that these female cultivators crazily scream outside. But why are those male cultivators so fanatical, as if they can't wait to rush over and smash through the door of the shop? So now, young martial uncle's fame is no longer limited to men and women? He swallows his saliva, looks at the other apprentices, and turns to look at the only 2 calm people in the shop. Yes, the only 2 calm people are Luo Yunxiao and Mayan. At this time, the shop's door is not open because Luo Yunxiao is teaching Mayan how to draw third-grade talismans. According to Mayan, third-grade talismans can be sold for 100 crystals at the lowest and even 1,000 crystals at the highest. Luo Yunxiao was advertising their store. If she could come up with a third-grade talisman, these customers would definitely come again because of the quality of the third-grade talisman. However, if there were only first-grade and second-grade talismans, once Luo Yunxiao's fame passed, those practitioners would gradually forget about this shop, and most of them wouldn't come back to buy more talismans. At this time, there are already a lot of third-grade talismans in Mayan's hand. There were spirit-replenishing talismans, speed-increasing talismans, and even third-grade talismans for fire and lightning attacks. However, the third-grade healing talisman that she had unintentionally drawn back then had never succeeded. Luo Yunxiao's slender, Jade-like fingers held the cinnabar brush and lightly drew on the talisman paper. With a deep and magnetic voice, he slowly said, "There isn't much of a difference between the runes of a third-grade talisman and a second-grade talisman. The only difference is the gap in the conversion of spiritual power." Mu Yin had been studying these third-grade healing talismans and had already figured out some ways to use them. Now, with Luo Yunxiao's guidance, it was as if the clouds had been dispelled to reveal the sun. Chapter 1067. At the same time, the Tianmo Qin in the space moves without any wind, and the melodious sound only rings in Mayan's ears. However, it's silently fused into every rune. After a quarter of an hour, Mayan lets out a long sigh and puts down the cinnabar brush. The third-grade healing talisman is finally finished. Mayan somewhat proudly hands the talisman in her hand to Luo Yunxiao. "I improved it according to youngest martial uncle's third-grade healing talisman. Look, isn't it better than the original?" Luo Yunxiao takes it and probes it with her divine sense. Then, her indifferent face finally shows a hint of surprise. "Did you really just learn to draw talismans?" Mayan asks expectantly. "How much does youngest martial uncle think this talisman can sell for?" 1,000 crystals. Luo Yunxiao doesn't hesitate to quote a sky-high price. Mayan inhales a breath of cold air, then smiles with curved eyes. She only feels as if countless crystals have fallen in front of her. That's 1,000 crystals. If she casually sells a few, the Xiaoyao school won't have to worry about food for the next few months. She can even think of ways to improve the Xiaoyao school's living conditions. The more Mayan thinks about it, the more pleased she is. She takes the talisman paper and the cinnabar brush and continues to draw without stopping. Moreover, it's really worth it to see youngest martial uncle's expression. She should draw a few more before the shop opens and strive to earn a few thousand crystals later. Mayan is immersed in the world of runes, but she doesn't notice that Luo Yunxiao's eyes are unblinkingly on her picturesque brows. She doesn't even blink, as if she has fallen into eternal contemplation. When the time comes, the door of the old master is the number one under the heavens slowly opens amidst the clamor of the crowd. At this time, the words, "The old master is the number one under the heavens" above the shop are no longer dim and almost invisible. Instead, they're sparkling with a golden light, almost blinding people's eyes. It's clear that these people haven't even seen Luo Yunxiao's face in less than half an hour, yet they've gone crazy. The moment the door opens, Mayan has already planned to use Luo Yunxiao's reputation to promote the shop. Seeing the men and women swarming in, seeing the tide of people trampling the shop to the ground, she's still dumbfounded. These people, aren't they a bit too many? "Where's young Master Yunxiao? We want to see young Master Yunxiao. Young Master Yunxiao, what do you want us to buy? Our crystals have all been prepared." Wave after wave of noise rose and fell, as if the roof was about to be overturned. Even Mayan had a vague illusion that the entire Tianguang ruins seemed to tremble. However, at the next moment, the noisy crowd in the shop seemed to have been strangled. All the voices stopped abruptly. The entire shop, including the noisy street outside the shop, slowly quietened down. Everyone turned to look at the man in white on the left side of the shop entrance. No one knew when he had appeared. It was as if he was supposed to be sitting there. A table, a chair, a pot of spirit wine, and a jade cup. His slender fingers gently picked up the cup and brought it to his lips. His Adam's apple moved up and down as the fragrant wine entered his thin lips, disappearing without a trace. Gulp! Gulp! Everyone swallowed a mouthful of saliva, their eyes filled with infatuation. Some people even forgot that they were still holding crystals in their hands and dropped them on the ground. Chapter 1068. That's the Xiojin continent's number one swordsman, Luo Yunxiao. Even if they've already seen that graceful an untainted figure in the photographic talisman. Even if they've long dreamed of that unique and charming demeanor in their fantasies. But when they really see the real person, they're still shocked. The real Yunxiao Gongzi is actually several times more perfect than they imagined. Immortal and otherworldly, aloof from the world. Even if they've only seen him up close, they already have no regrets in this life. Yunxiao Gongzi, it's really Yunxiao Gongzi. Oh, I have no regrets in this life to be able to see Yunxiao Gongzi. I'm going to faint. Quickly support me. Quickly support me. Mine originally thought that when these people see little martial uncle, they would definitely rush up like wolves pouncing on their prey. She didn't expect that not only did they not rush up, they even retreated in panic, as if they've seen something that can blind them. It's as if standing too close to Luo Yunxiao would pollute the air he breathes, blaspheme him. Mine remembers the stars and fans mentioned in Bailey Liuin's notes, and she can't help but shake her head. Bailey Liuin said that the fans in her world were crazy. In fact, the fans in the Xiojin continent are not inferior at all. But the greater little martial uncle's fame and influence, the more talismans they can buy. Mine coughs twice and slowly walks to the center of the shop. Lu Ruoxuan stood in the crowd and looked at the handsome man who was holding a cup and drinking. Her heart was thumping nonstop. Her eyes are burning, as if they can burn the hottest flame. She longs to get close to this man, longs to talk to him, longs for him to look at her with gentle eyes. If this man can really treat her differently, Lu Ruoxuan will definitely become the happiest woman in the world. Lu Ruoxuan clenches her teeth, but in the end, she can't resist the boiling temptation in her heart. She pushes through the crowd and walks towards Luo Yunxiao step by step. Because everyone has retreated, there's naturally an empty space in front of Luo Yunxiao. Therefore, Lu Ruoxuan is immediately exposed to everyone's line of sight as soon as she steps out. Being stared at by everyone's burning and shocked gazes, Lu Ruoxuan shrinks, but immediately straightens her back. Step by step, she walked up to Luo Yunxiao with a shy, admiring, and infatuated smile on her face. She was like the purest, kindest, and most gentle girl who admired him. Young Master Yunxiao, I am the sacred dance of ice, and I can also draw talismans. If young master needs talismans, there's no need to buy them here. I can personally draw them for you. Lu Ruoxuan said softly, while peeking at Luo Yunxiao's reaction. However, before she could see Luo Yunxiao's expression clearly, a furious shout suddenly erupted from the crowd. Where did this shameless little whore come from? She actually wants to seduce young Master Yunxiao. Sisters, beat them up. Young Master Yunxiao belongs to everyone. No one is allowed to monopolize him. That's right, beat this shameless vixen to death. Young Master Yunxiao is sacred and inviolable. Who allowed a slut like you to go up and talk to young Master Yunxiao? Are you worthy? The crowd rushed forward, and before Lu Ruoxuan could react, they had already pushed her to the ground. One by one, they stepped on her, stomped on her, slapped her, and even tore her clothes. Chapter 1069. Tianwangsu wouldn't care about such a brawl between two shrews. Lu Ruoxuan only felt her body being pushed by someone, and then a rain-like attack and pain fell on her body. She cried and shouted, I'm Bing Ruo Bing Wu. I'm mountain-breaking sex Lu Ruoxuan. Stop fighting. What Bing Ruo Wu? What breaking mountain sect? How dare they disrespect young Master Yunxiao? Even the Heavenly Emperor himself would beat them up. Bah, I'm hitting Lu Ruoxuan, you vixen. You usually pretend to be pitiful outside and go around seducing men. A shameless thing like you still has the nerve to talk to young Master Yunxiao. Who do you think you are? Lu Ruoxuan wailed as she stretched out her hand. As she cried, she begged Luo Yunxiao for help. Young Master Yunxiao, save me. However, Luo Yunxiao poured herself a cup of spiritual wine and drank it slowly. It was as if he didn't see what was happening in front of him. Looking at the scene outside, Mu Yin stares blankly at first, Then she laughs so hard that she almost pouts. Oh my God, I didn't expect Junior Martial Uncle to have such an effect. In the past, she tried every possible way to teach Lu Ruoxuan a lesson, but she could only make her suffer a superficial lesson. She didn't expect that the moment youngest Martial Uncle made a move, Lu Ruoxuan would become the target of public criticism without saying a word or changing his action. She was beaten so badly that she could not bear to look at it. Poochie, Junior Martial Uncle is mighty. Mayan has watched enough of the show and sighed, and only then does she slowly walk to the entrance of the shop. In a clear voice, she says, "Now, everyone can enter the shop to purchase talismans. However, since there are too many guests who want to enter, only 30 people can enter at a time. Please do not push." The crowd had originally been indignant at the fact that a woman had come out of the shop and was standing so close to Luo Yunxiao. But when he sees Mayan's appearance, he immediately breathes a sigh of relief. Even after adjusting it by 100%, it was still only delicate and ordinary. One could only imagine how ugly they were in reality. Such an ugly woman. Young Master Yun Xiao naturally did not fancy her. As for why young Master Yun Xiao was standing up for this unknown shop, then what was there to investigate? The decision made by young Master Yun Xiao was naturally correct and unquestionable. Since young Master Yun Xiao appeared in this shop, then it was enough for them to just buy and buy. Among the people present, only Lu Ruoxuan, who is battered and exhausted on the ground, shows a shocked expression when she sees Mayan. Wasn't this the woman who made her lose face in the Celestial Retaining Restaurant that day? She could please that invincibly handsome and cute little boy. And that was it? How did he even have a relationship with young Master Yin Xiao? She was clearly just an ugly monster. Her appearance was not even 1/10 of her own. Why did everyone treat her differently? Who was this woman? Because of Luo Yunxiao's support, it only took 2 hours. The talismans that Mu Yin had been drawing for a few days, but she hadn't been able to sell them. Unexpectedly, they were all snatched up. When these people entered the shop to buy talismans, they did not even look at the price and quality. He directly took out his Jingshur to buy it, afraid that he would leave a stingy and petty impression on young Master Yin Xiao. What made Mu Yin feel the most inconceivable was that half of these crazy fans were actually men. Moreover, many of them were high-level cultivators from the middle and upper districts. Chapter 1070. But in order to get a closer look at Luo Yunxiao, they rushed over. After seeing Luo Yunxiao, they didn't go near her. They just bowed deeply from afar, bought the talismans, and left in a hurry. Not to mention those crazy female cultivators. Some of them even fainted when they saw Luo Yunxiao up close. When they were carried out, they insisted on buying a few talismans to support Master Yunxiao. Looking at this scene, Mu Yin was simply dumbfounded. So Junior Martial Uncle is actually so awesome? What else do you think? Lung Yuma glanced at her. If people knew that Junior Martial Uncle is from our Xiaoyao sect, the cultivators who want to enter the Xiaoyao sect will definitely flatten the entire Tianxian Mountains. Mu Yin swallows with difficulty. Seeing this group of people worshipping Junior Martial Uncle like a bodhisattva, she thought about how she just cut Junior Martial Uncle's zither strings 2 days ago. She suddenly felt that life was very difficult. Luo Yu clung onto Mayan's shoulder and giggled. 6 senior sister. If these people knew that you're learning swordsmanship from youngest Martial Uncle every day, and that you're even teaching youngest Martial Uncle the zither, they would definitely go crazy with jealousy. Mu Yin looked at her coldly. You also know how to play the zither. How about I teach you this glorious task? Luo Yu was scared out of her wits. She shook her head. No, please don't. Junior Martial Uncle's terrifying, ear-piercing demonic sound was not something an ordinary person could bear. Moreover, Junior Martial Uncle was so terrible that he was tone-deaf. If she wanted to teach him how to play the zither, Luo Yu felt that it would be faster to cut her own throat. Sold out. Junior Martial Sisters' talismans are all sold out. Our Xiaorao sect is finally going to be rich. Huh? So many crystals, we can buy a lot of meat. Meat, ha ha ha, long live 6 senior martial sister, long live junior martial uncle. The people of the Xiaoyao sect excitedly rolled around in the pile of crystals. Even Mu Yin was a little dazed when she saw the crystals in the room. They had only been standing on the street for 2 hours. 2 hours. If they stood for a few more hours, Mu Yin looks at Luo Yunxiao. Junior Master, we agreed that it would be half a day. Only 2 hours have passed today. Are you going to compensate me for the remaining 2 hours? Luo Yunxiao looked at him expressionlessly. Then the corners of her mouth slowly curved into a gentle smile. What do you think? No need, no need. Mu Yin immediately becomes terrified and waves her hands again and again. Young martial uncle, you're the store's precious artifact. You can't easily take it out. An hour is enough. It's enough. Luo Yunxiao. Ha, the store's treasure. Mei Yin Yin, you're so talented. Chiwen suddenly jumps out, wanting to drill into Mu Yan's body, but Luo Yunxiao grabs her by the neck. When will you teach me how to play the zither? Mine stares blankly. Whenever junior martial uncle says so. Tonight then. Come to my courtyard. After saying that, he doesn't wait for Mine's reaction and directly turns around to leave. Mu Yin was stunned for a long time before she came back to her senses. Junior martial uncle's love for music is too deep. He doesn't even want to delay a day and wants to play the piano overnight. When playing the zither, you need to use both hands to cooperate. The left and right hands have different tasks. The right hand plucks the strings, and the left hand presses the strings to pick up the notes. The right hand has support, brush, pick, hook, and pick. The left hand has hum, note, bump, advance, and return. Chapter 1071. A trace of confusion flashes across Luo Yunxiao's face. Then, she lowers her head and moves her 10 fingers according to Mayan's instructions. Stop, stop, stop. Mayan is going crazy. I've been talking for a long time, but you didn't listen to a single word. Why was it that even after she had taught him for so long, the sound that came out was still so demonic? Was he going to let her live? Luo Yunxiao's face was expressionless as she stared at her. But Mu Yin is stunned to see a trace of innocence on that invincible, handsome face. Mu Yin took a deep breath and secretly said 100 times, "This is junior martial uncle. I can't offend him." Only then did he grit his teeth and say, "Next, play these 3 notes for me. Don't try anything else. Do you hear me?" Luo Yunxiao nodded his head and placed his fingers back on the zither strings. Because Luo Yunxiao was only allowed to repeat the 3 most basic notes, this time, there wasn't a horrible sound like sawing wood. Mu Yin breathed a sigh of relief. Play the score of these 3 notes 20 times according to what I just taught you. Before you master these 3 notes, you are not allowed to try anything else. Do you hear me? Luo Yunxiao nodded obediently and continued to play the zither. There was no longer any piercing demonic music, but the repetitive music kept repeating itself in his mind. Mine's eyelids gradually become heavy. Finally, she lies on the table and falls into a deep sleep. She didn't know that after she fell asleep, Luo Yunxiao stopped playing the zither and looked at her deeply. After a long time, he got up and gently carried the girl, placing her on the bed. The moment she let go of the young girl, Luo Yunxiao frowned and abruptly turned around to look around the house. But he didn't find anything. In the space, Qi Huang was stomping his feet. "You bastard pretty boy, who allowed you to touch Mayan? Let go of me!" Mayan is in a daze from her sleep, and she seems to be constantly hearing the noise of Qi Huang. However, she was too tired during this period of time, so she just waved her hand, signaling Qi Huang to stop making a fuss, and then fell into a deep sleep again. When she woke up, Mu Yin found that the room was dark and quiet. However, the moonlight shone in through the window and seemed to gild everything in the room with a layer of silver. Mu Yin only needed to adapt for a while before she could clearly see everything in the room under the moonlight. The wine pot and cups were still quietly placed on the table, as well as the zither that had just been played. While he was lying on the bed, little Martial Uncle was sleeping on a wrought-tan chair not far away. Chiwen was curled up into a ball, nestled in the hand of the youngest Martial Uncle. Mu Yin is a little embarrassed. She was here to teach little Uncle Master how to play the zither, but she didn't expect to fall asleep by herself and even occupy little Uncle Master's bed. He was wondering if he should sneak back to his house. Suddenly, a red shadow flashed before his eyes. Unknowingly, a figure had appeared in front of little Uncle Master. When she saw the figure clearly, Mu Yin sucked in a breath of cold air and called out in a low voice, 7 brilliants. Yes, the young man standing in front of Luo Yunxiao was dressed in a blood-red robe, and his hair was like a waterfall. Under the moonlight, Ma Ying's beautiful face looked like the most bewitching demon. Hearing Mu Yan's exclamation, he slowly turned his head, revealing a pair of fiery red eyes. The corners of her mouth slowly curled up. A charming and bloodthirsty smile rippled on her beautiful face. Mayan's eyes suddenly widened. This is this 7 brilliance? Why is it that he clearly has 7 brilliance's appearance, but his whole body exudes a cold, crazy, and bloodthirsty evil aura? Just then, 7 brilliance slowly raised his hand. Chapter 1072. A sinister and bloodthirsty smile suddenly blooms on his face, becoming incomparably crazy. Qi Huang, what are you doing? Mayan whispers. She sees that the dagger in Qi Huang's hand is already ruthlessly stabbing towards Luo Yunxiao's heart. Don't! Mayan doesn't care about anything else and suddenly pounces over. However, the moment her hand touched Qi Huang's figure dissipated like smoke. Immediately after, she loses her balance and heavily crashes into Luo Yunxiao. Under the moonlight, Luo Yunxiao slowly opens his eyes, revealing his eyes that are purer than the night. Mayan is so frightened that she quickly climbs up from his body and retreats again and again. Her voice is dry as she says, "That, young Martial Uncle, I can explain." Luo Yunxiao slowly sits up and looks at her with an indifferent expression. He unhurriedly says, "Okay, I'll listen to your explanation." His words, however, cause Mu Yin to stiffen. What kind of explanation is this? How is she going to explain? Could it be that she has to give up Qi Huang? That's absolutely not possible. Mayan is flustered and irritable, so much so that she doesn't notice that Luo Yunxiao's ears are slightly red. Her hands are also unconsciously clenched, but when she looks over, they quickly return to their original state. Mayan coughs lightly and says, "Yes, I got up at night and didn't see the road clearly, so I accidentally bumped into young Martial Uncle." Luo Yunxiao nods. "So that's how it is?" Mayan lets out a long sigh of relief. She finally muddles through. As a result, Luo Yunxiao's next words are, "Tonight's moonlight is like a mirror, and you still can't see the road clearly. It seems that you're not good at fighting at night. Starting from tomorrow, you'll increase your cultivation time by 2 hours every night." Mayan's foot slips, and she almost falls to the ground. Still increasing cultivation time? Does she still want to live? Qi Xiaowang, just you wait. See if I don't skin you later. However, when Mayan returns to her room and enters the space to drag Qi Huang out to interrogate him, Qi Huang shows a blank expression. "What did I do last night? You said that I wanted to kill Luo Yunxiao. I really wanted to kill him, but I'm not stupid. If I didn't have enough strength, why would I appear in front of him? It wasn't you?" Mayan is also dumbfounded. "Then what did I see last night? Could it be that I'm hallucinating?" After Mu Yin left, Qi Huang restrained all the emotions on his face, and his eyes darkened. There was a flash of worry and fear in his eyes, but it disappeared in an instant. Tingguang Ruins. The next day, the shop in front of Laozi is #1 in the world was still crowded with people. But these people were basically all here to see the number one handsome man in the world, young Master Yun Xiao. When they realized that Luo Yun Xiao wasn't around, most of them left with flagging interest. Even if someone came into the shop to buy some talismans, they would only buy 2 first and second grade talismans. As for the grade 3 talismans, especially the 1000 crystal healing talisman, everyone shook their heads. What grade 3 talisman to actually sell for 1000 crystals? With this price, I can buy a 4th grade talisman in the middle 3 districts. Exactly. Even if you borrowed young Master Yun Zhao's name, you also can't cheat people like this. What good goods can a broken 1-star shop have? If you really want to buy talismans, you should still go to the earth-shattering sky-shocking shop. There are talismans personally drawn by Miss Bing Ruo Yunwu. Even Master In Xiu praised it. I don't care if this is a 1-star shop or not. In short, this is something that young Master Yun Xiao supports. I will support it. Chapter 1073. Mu Yin sits in the corner of the shop, drawing talismans leisurely, while Luo Yu and Yun Ruhan entertain the customers. Originally, the Xiaoyao sect was so poor that they only had 1 jade key from Tingwang ruins. But because Luo Yunxiao came back, they begged and begged for 2 more from Xiao Shishu. But after the crazy sales, the Xiaoyao sect now has a lot of crystals. As long as they have a chance to go to the big market to buy, they will naturally have a jade key. Life is not so good. However, without little Marshal Uncle to oversee the business, the shop's business was not as good. Even if many cultivators buy talismans, it is only because this is the shop where Master Yun Xiao used to work. They may not even use it after buying it, but just throw it aside. Excuse me, is Sister Yi Liangqin here? Suddenly, a little girl walks into the shop, nervously looking at Luo Yu and Yun Ruhan. Mu Yin looks up in surprise, only to find that the little girl is a little familiar. Sister Yi, that's great. You are still here? The little girl ran over with a bag of crystal stones in her hand. She excitedly stuffed it into Mu Yan's hands. Sister Yi, thanks to your healing talisman, my brother, he survived and even joined the city guards. Sister Yi, these are the crystals I owe you. Hearing the little girl, Mu Yin remembers. That was the first real customer of the best in the world. A shy little girl named Bei Kuei Xiangnuan. At that time, she only had 5 crystals, but she wanted to buy a 2nd grade healing talisman. Mu Yin was in a good mood, so she gave her 2. She said that she will return the crystals in the future. She didn't expect that she would really return the crystals today. Mu Yin smiles. You still have a lot of spar here, saying that she wants to return the extra crystals. Bei Kuei Xiangnuan is anxious. No, Sister Yi, the talismans you drew are really, really good. Better than the 2nd grade healing talismans I bought at the earth-shattering shop. I think your talisman is worth more than 20 crystals. Even my brother said so. This is something I must return to you. The little girl looks shy, but she is very stubborn. She must make Mu Yin accept the crystals. Luo Yu smiles. Miss, you really know what's good. My senior's talisman is naturally the best in the world. Come in. What's your name? Are you interested in helping our Laozi is number 1 in the world? North Sunflower Xiangnuan's interlude attracted the attention of the customers in the shop. However, they soon sneered in disdain. Is this little girl a shill hired by the shop? Saying that the talismans of this small shop are more useful than the talismans of the earth-shattering shop? Who are you trying to fool? And look at the little girl drawing the talisman. How old is she? She looks even younger than the earth-shattering and sky-shocking Lu Ruoxuan. She can draw a 3rd grade talisman at such a young age, and it's even better than Lu Ruoxuan. Who would believe it? That's right. It's obvious that he's putting on an act for us. Do you think we will believe such a clumsy lie? But this is a shop that young Master Yun Xiao has been to. It shouldn't be that dirty, right? Humph, it must be that young Master Yun Xiao owes them a favor and came over to repay it. I didn't expect them to make use of young Master Yun Zhao's noble character. Chapter 1074. North Sunflower Xiang, Nguyen didn't expect that her actions would instead cause the customers of this shop to leave. She was so anxious that she was about to cry. No, I'm not acting. My brother really suffered a very serious injury, and it was all thanks to Sister Ye's talismans that he was healed. However, how would these customers believe her as they all scoffed at her? Right at this moment, a young man dressed in luxurious clothing suddenly rushed in from outside the door. After he rushed into the shop while gasping for breath, he didn't even have the time to wipe the sweat on his forehead before he suddenly threw down 10 crystal stones and shouted, "Give me 10 third-grade talismans, 1,000 crystal stones for that. Quickly, quickly." Everyone in the shop was stunned. When they clearly saw the young man's appearance and the crystals he threw down, they were all stunned. They saw that the 10 crystals were crystal clear, much brighter than low-grade crystals. It was actually a whole 10 pieces of mid-grade crystals. And above this young man's head were 3 glittering words, "Easy Bro." Isn't that the Guo family's young master, who had his real name verified in Tianguang ruins? Guo family's young master Guobin was the legitimate son of a small aristocratic family country in Azure Heaven Realm. Actually, Guobin's cultivation wasn't high, but he was famous for being extravagant and loved to brag. In Tianguang ruins, he even gave himself the eye-catching name Easy Bro and even made a glittering real name verification. So in the lower 3 districts, there was practically no one who didn't know him. Why would young Master Guo come here to buy talismans and even take 10 mid-grade crystals? That's a whole 10,000 crystals. Those who knew young Master Guo couldn't help but step forward to dissuade him. "Easy Bro, don't be rash. Buy trash back. Don't let your old man break your legs." "What do you know?" Guobin glared at that person and said loudly, "Yesterday, I only came to buy 2 talismans because of young Master Yun Zhao's name. At that time, I was completely immersed in young Master Yun Zhao's glory and didn't even realize that I bought any talismans. In the end, when I got back, I found out that it was a 3rd-grade talisman that cost 1,000 crystals each. At that time, I regretted it so much that my intestines turned green. You have to know that this young master only earns 3,000 crystals a month. I didn't expect my grandfather's old illness to act up that night. His entire body was aching. I thought that it would be a waste to not use the healing talisman, so I gave it to my grandfather. Guess what happened? Guobin had always liked to play to the gallery and attract people's attention. At this moment, he felt that he was particularly awesome, and his saliva flew everywhere as he spoke. After my grandfather used that talisman, he didn't feel any pain all over his body, and even his old ailments showed signs of loosening. Haha, in the past, whenever my father saw me, he would either scold me or punish me. But last night, he praised me and told me to buy more of these talismans. He also said that if Grandpa's old illness was really cured, he would be able to spend more crystals every month. Haha, it's good that you don't believe me. This young master will take all the talismans in this shop. The customers in the shop looked at each other, their expressions changing. Meanwhile, Guobin had already received the 10 level 3 healing talismans from Luo Yu and walked away in high spirits. This eldest young master doesn't look like someone who would be a shill for others. Could it be that the talismans in this shop are really that useful? Chapter 1075. Then why don't we buy a few and try it back? Everyone hesitantly starts to choose and buy talismans. Some people even consider whether to spend 1,000 crystals to buy a healing talisman and try it back. Just then, another person in gorgeous clothes rushes in. His expression is exactly the same as Guobin's just now. Even more anxious and excited than Guobin, "I'll buy all the 3rd-grade talismans, and I have plenty of crystals, hurry." Saying that, he also takes out a dozen or so middle-grade crystals and throws them on the table. Luo Yu smiles. I'm sorry, customer, but there are only 8 third-grade talismans left for 1,000 crystals. Only 8? The person frowns. That can't be helped. I'll take all 8. I'll also make reservations for tomorrow and the day after. As long as you can draw the talismans, I'll buy them all. I'm sorry. Mine opens her mouth at this time. This shop doesn't accept reservations. If you want to buy talismans in the future, please line up early. In addition, these talismans for 1,000 crystals have been improved. I call them mutated talismans. In the future, there will be no more than 20 mutated talismans released every day. Sold out. That person looks at Mayan coldly and says in an unfriendly tone, Who are you? How dare you talk to me like this? Do you know who I am? I've seen this person before. He seems to be from the middle 3 districts. He actually came to our lower 3 districts to buy talismans? Yes, I've seen him before. He's quite famous in the middle 3 districts. Although he hasn't reached the real name authentication, many people know him. He seems to be a disciple of a famous sect. The real name authentication in the middle 3 districts and the upper 3 districts requires much more popularity than the lower 3 districts. So although this person has entered the middle 3 districts and his popularity is not bad, he still hasn't reached the real name authentication qualification. Mayan sneers. I, Yi Liangchun, am the one who drew these talismans. I say that these talismans will be sold however they are sold. Even if God comes, he can't change my rules. If you're not convinced, you can break the rules and see if you can buy another talisman from me. The shop was silent for a moment, and then suddenly burst into a flurry of discussion. These talismans were really drawn by this little girl. How old was she? She could already draw a 3rd-grade talisman? Isn't this too inconceivable? Why is a little girl named Yi Liangchun? What a strange name. Aya, but don't you think that this young lady called Yi Liangchun is really domineering even though her appearance is average? Yes. Even if the Heavenly King himself comes, he can't change my rules. So cool. As expected, the person that our young master Yun Xiao fancies is indeed different. I think this Yap Liangchun is much better than that Bing Ruo Shiwu, who only knows how to pretend to be pitiful. Mu Yin looks at the protesting cultivator and reveals a shallow smile. Now, do you still have any objections? That male cultivator's complexion alternated between blue and white, finally gritted his teeth, and paid 8 pieces of medium-grade crystal stones, took the talisman, and left. If it was just an arrogant little girl, he would definitely teach her a lesson. But the problem was that he was the creator of the talisman. If he offended them, he wouldn't be able to buy them in the future. Wouldn't that be a huge loss? Chapter 1076. After the cultivator leaves, Mayan returns to the corner of the shop and continues to draw her talismans. During this period of time, she has been trained by Luo Yunxiao to the point that she wishes she could die. Every day, she wishes she could split a quarter of an hour into 2. Now that she has finally found some time to come to Tingguang Ruins, she naturally wants to draw more talismans and earn more crystals. The other customers in the shop, after experiencing the confirmation of the 2 people, finally completely believe how good the talismans here are. Without needing Luo Yu and the others to call, everyone rushes to the counter and yells loudly. I want 10 third-grade talismans, the most expensive ones. I want all the 2nd-grade healing talismans. I have crystals. Give them to me quickly. What? There are no 2nd-grade talismans? Then 1st grade. I'll also buy 1st-grade talismans. It's not even 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and all the talismans in the shop are sold out. Closing the shop door, she looks at the sparkling, old man is number 1 in the world, in the J key and the long list of popularity points behind it. Luo Yu is simply stunned. Six sister, you're really amazing. The talismans we sold today are no less than when youngest Marshall Uncle was here yesterday. Yun Ruhan is also a little excited. Our current popularity points can already directly apply for a 2-star shop. Youngest martial sister, with your popularity points, you'll soon be able to enter the middle 3 districts. Ha ha ha, so many crystals. Lung Yuma excitedly kisses the middle grade crystal. Youngest martial sister. Even if you don't draw anything else, we can still eat meat every day. Mayan slightly smiles. Eldest martial brother, our sex encampment should be repaired. At least, third martial brother is sick and can't always live in that cold room. Also, Xiao Qi needs to practice controlling puppets, which requires a lot of expensive materials. Fourth martial sister's sharp sword is always restrained because she is afraid of damaging the sect. We need a real place to cultivate, and one day if we can build a cultivation tower in the sect, that would be great. So, these crystals are far from enough. My efforts are also far from enough. If she can draw 4th grade talismans, or even 5th grade or 6th grade talismans, if she can refine 3rd grade elixirs and above, then she can make the Xiao Yao school better and let her fellow martial brothers live better. As soon as Mayan finishes speaking, she finds that the room is very quiet. She raised her head and saw that 4th senior sister and Luo Yu were looking at her with tears in their eyes. Even the eldest senior brother, who was the steadiest among them, had tears in his eyes. He was so touched that he couldn't control himself. Muyan shivers and gets goosebumps. Don't be like this. But before she could finish her sentence, Lung Yuma and Luo Yu pounced on her and hugged her. Oh, junior sister, you're the best. No one has ever treated us so well and thought about us so much. 6th senior sister, I love you the most. Muyan can't breathe from being hugged by them. She can only beg for mercy again and again, but she can't help but laugh. What are you guys doing? You're already an adult, yet you're still crying. Then, she heard eldest senior brother Yun Ruhan sigh softly. Little junior sister, thank you. The carefree sect is so lucky to have you. Mayan is slightly startled. Then a bright and beautiful smile slowly blooms on her face. Chapter 1077. But I will try my best. Please give me more time. Chief Stewardine. Even if I don't sleep, I will definitely draw a 3rd grade talisman and cure Master Inxio's injury. Lu Ruoxuan pitifully said, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her appearance was indescribably pitiful, but in Chief Steward Yin's eyes, he only felt disgust and impatience. In the beginning, he thought this girl was hardworking and kind, but after so long, she had not drawn a single 3rd grade talisman. The 1st and 2nd grade talismans that were sent were not of good quality. They could not cure Inxio's illness at all. Unfortunately, there were rumors that the mountain-breaking sect had established a relationship with Master Inxio. Even the earth-shattering and sky-shocking shop had risen in value. They even wanted to monopolize the sales of talismans in the lower 3 districts. This made Chief Steward Een very unhappy with this sacred dance of ice. This girl looked gentle and kind on the surface, but she was actually very scheming. She obviously could not cure his master's illness, but she was publicizing her relationship with his master. Chief Steward Een frowned and said coldly, Wang Gui, are you sure you didn't register the wrong person? Is this sacred dance of ice really the person who drew those 50 talismans? Hearing this, Steward Wang trembled and said shakily, No, I didn't register the wrong person. Those 50 talismans were submitted by Miss Sacred Dance of Ice. At this point, even if he regretted it, he had to grit his teeth and continue lying. Huh? Chief Steward Een sneered. Then your talisman drawing skills have regressed too much. Lu Ruoxuan did not expect Chief Steward Een to be so merciless. She could not help but turn pale, and her body swayed. Who knew that Chief Steward Yin's next words would push her deeper into the abyss? Also, Master has always been low-key. He does not like people using his name to do things, not to mention those who swindle and deceive people in name only. Miss Sacred Dance of Ice, If you still cannot draw a third-grade talisman, I will make a public announcement in Tianguang ruins that your mountain-breaking sect has nothing to do with my Yin family. After saying this, Chief Steward Yin flicked his sleeves and left. Lu Ruoxuan was left standing on the spot in a daze. Her body was trembling, and she was on the verge of fainting. Brother Steward. She looked at Steward Wang with a sobbing tone. What should I do now? You're asking me what to do? I still want to know what to do. Manager Wang said hatefully. Who asked you to be so useless? It's been so many days, and you actually can't even draw a third-grade talisman. Lu Ruoxuan's body swayed again. She suddenly raised her voice. Steward Wang, it was clearly you. It was clearly you who asked me to pretend to be that person. I said it before, I can't draw a third-grade talisman. Oomph. You speak as if you and the mountain-breaking sect did not gain anything from this. Manager Wang's gaze was gloomy and ruthless, and his fat face trembled savagely. I'm warning you. Either you draw a third-grade talisman for me right now, or you find a third-grade talisman that the Lord won't be able to see through and hand it over to the Lord. Otherwise, if you implicate me and cause me to lose my Yin clan job, I'll surely make you suffer the consequences. Listening to Steward Wang's heartless words and recalling the sweet words he used to persuade her to impersonate him, Lu Ruoxuan felt as though she had been struck by lightning. Chapter 1078. But when she arrived at the shop, she discovered that the number of people lining up to buy talismans had decreased by more than half. Senior, what's going on? The senior from the mountain-breaking sect sighed. Junior Xian, you still don't know? That old man's number one under heaven shop, the shop where young Master Yin Xiao appeared that day, is now selling talismans. Their daily supply is greater than ours in 3 days. Moreover, their stores even have Grade 3 talismans for sale, and those Grade 3 healing talismans are even sold for 1,000 crystals, and there are still people fighting to buy them. In this way, the customers in our stores are naturally thinned out. Lu Ruoxuan's eyes lit up when she heard this. Third-grade healing talismans? That shop really sells third-grade healing talismans? Do you know which famous master drew them? I heard that it wasn't drawn by a talisman master, but by a young girl in that shop, who is also the shop owner. If that young girl is only 18 or 19 years old, younger than you, Junior Xian, how could she draw third-grade talismans? However, Lu Ruoxuan did not hear a single word of what he said. Her mind was only reverberating that the shop sold third-grade healing talismans, and it wasn't drawn by a famous master. If she bought it and gave it to Master Yin Xiao, Lu Ruoxuan's heart was agitated, and she could not wait a moment longer. She hurried to the old man's number one under heaven shop. I want to buy third-grade healing talismans. The person in charge of the shop today was the 4th senior sister, Leng Yuma. There was also the young girl, North Sunflower Xiang Nuan, who was kidnapped by Luo Yu to help in the shop. Hearing this, she raised her eyelids. It's sold out. Please come early tomorrow. What? It's sold out? Lu Ruoxuan screamed. I am willing to pay 3 times no, 5 times the price. How about you sell me tomorrow's portion first? Leng Yuma sneered. Don't you know that my junior sister said that the rules of the old man's number one under heaven shop are dead, and no one can change it? What the hell are you? Suddenly, Leng Yuma's voice paused, and she looked at her face. Wait a minute, you are the earth-breaking and sky-shocking? Today, Lu Ruoxuan, in order to not let others know that she had come to buy a third-grade talisman, deliberately concealed the 4 glittering silver words, dancing like ice. Now that she was recognized, she felt a little uneasy in her heart, but thinking of her current fame, she still revealed a beautiful and proud smile. Yes, I am Sacred Dance of Ice. As long as you sell me the third-grade healing talisman today, I can advertise your shop for free. I was chosen by Master Yin Xiao. If I advertise for you, your business will definitely flourish. Before Lu Ruoxuan could finish her sentence, Leng Yuma had already slammed the table and stood up. While pulling out his sword, he shouted at the top of his lungs, "Barbarian bull, barbarian bull, second martial brother, quickly come out. That vixen that junior sister hates the most is here. Hurry up and come out to beat her to death." A tall and sturdy figure rushed out from the back of the shop. He held a huge hammer in his hand and roared, I'm here. I'll help. Help junior sister beat the vixen." Lu Ruoxuan's eyes widened as she was kicked away by Lung Yuma. The people around her pointed at her, laughing and mocking her incessantly. Chapter 1079. Lu Ruoxuan's body trembled as tears streamed down her face. "You guys are too much. I'm only here to buy talismans. Why? Why are you treating me like this? What did I do wrong?" Lung Yuma placed her hands on her hips and sneered. "I hate people like you who cry and pretend to be pitiful. Isn't your earth-shattering store very powerful? Don't you know how to draw talismans? Why are you here to buy talismans? Don't say that junior sister doesn't like you. I've already made it clear that all the talismans in this store can be sold to anyone, but not to the mountain-breaking sect. Even if junior sister didn't say anything, I would still beat you up every time I see you. I'm warning you, don't ever appear in front of me again. Otherwise, even if my popularity points go into the negatives, I will beat you up until your parents can't recognize you. Get lost." The crowd couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, isn't the earth-shattering store very powerful? Why are their talismans so expensive? Why did they come to our #1 store? Don't tell me they bought the talismans for Master In Shio from our #1 store? That's right. I heard that Master In Shio wanted a third-grade talisman. He couldn't draw this dancing ice flowers, so he came to our #1 store to buy it. This is really shameless. Get out of our #1 store. What dancing ice flowers? Our Yap Lianchin's talismans are the best. Get lost." Lu Ruoxuan couldn't hold it in anymore. She covered her face and fled the street while crying. Almost at the same time, a third-grade talisman was presented to Manager Ian. "This is a third-grade healing talisman?" The servant bowed. "I spent 1,000 crystals to buy from a shop called Master is #1 in the world." Manager Ian frowned and looked at the servant. "You should know that a normal third-grade healing talisman is useless for Master's injuries." The servant nodded. "I know, but I can guarantee that this third-grade healing talisman is the same as the one that Master used before. It's definitely useful." Manager Yin's eyes lit up, and he suddenly stood up. Could it be that the dancing ice snow has finally drawn a grade 3 talisman? When the waiter heard the name of Dancing Ice Sword, he revealed a look of disdain. "Director, the 51 talismans, including the grade 3 healing talisman, were not given by Lu Ruoxuan at all. Instead, it was the young girl from the old master's #1 under the heaven shop named Yi Lianchin." "What did you say?" Director Ian roared in disbelief. "Explain everything clearly." It turned out that the manservant's name was Luo Peng. He was the manservant that followed beside Manager Wang that day and was in charge of registration. No one knew better than him who exactly had sent those 51 talismans. Luo Peng told him about how Mu Yan had offended Steward Wang that day, and how Steward Wang had Lu Ruoxuan act as Mu Yan's substitute. Director Ian couldn't believe his ears. Wang Gue was simply too daring. He actually dared to disregard the master's illness. "Why did you only tell me about this now?" Chapter 1080. When young Master Yin Xiao was in charge of the shop and there was news of the priceless mutated third-grade talisman in the shop, I rushed over to check and found out that it was the lady from that day. Steward Yin's face turned pale as he clenched his fists tightly. There seemed to be a raging fire burning in his eyes. I'll give this talisman to Master to try first. If it really has the same effect as the third-grade healing talisman that day, you'll definitely benefit from it. As for Wang Gui and Bing Ruo's savage dance, if it's proven that they're imposters, a murderous look flashed across Steward Yin's face as he turned and left in a hurry. Luo Peng heaved a sigh of relief as he looked at Steward Yin's departing figure and revealed a carefree smile. Wang Gui used his position as a steward to punish and beat them all day long. Luo Peng had long wanted to take revenge, but he didn't dare to and didn't have the chance. This time, Wang Gui was courting death. He couldn't be blamed. Luo Peng rolled his eyes and quickly found someone he was familiar with. He said in a curious and shocked tone, "Have you heard? Bing Ruo's savage dance wasn't the one who gave the healing talisman to Master. In fact, the talisman master that Master appreciated was Miss Yi Liangshan from the Master is #1 under Heaven shop." In just a day, the news that Bing Ruo's savage dance wasn't the talisman master that Yin Xiu appreciated spread throughout the lower 3 districts of Tianguang Ruins. Zhang Dehai went straight to Tianguang Ruins to find Lu Ruoxuan and said sternly, "What's going on? Did Master Yin Xiu take a liking to you?" Lu Ruoxuan's face was pale, and her body was on the verge of collapse. She gritted her teeth and said, "Master, it's true. I really gave Master Yin a healing talisman, and Master Yin praised me personally. Those rumors were spread by that one-star shop and Yi Liangshan to slander me. Master, you mustn't believe it." Zhang Dehai frowned. "Then why didn't you draw the third-grade talisman?" Lu Ruoxuan lowered her head as tears dripped down. "I'm sorry, Master. I'm useless. But a third-grade talisman really isn't something that I can draw immediately. I don't want my paintings to be worse than before and disappoint Master Yin. No matter what, this matter has already affected the reputation of the mountain-breaking sect." Zhang Dehai said in a low voice, "You better draw a grade 3 healing talisman as soon as possible so that Master Yin can give that grade 6 spirit weapon to you. At the very least, you should clarify the rumors. You cannot allow this matter to affect the reputation of the mountain-breaking sect and the business of the store." With that, Zhang Dehai left the Tianguang Ruins. Lu Ruoxuan was left alone with tears streaming down her face. Thinking that Yi Liangshan was the one who gave Yin Xiu the healing talisman, Lu Ruoxuan's kind and weak face showed a touch of resentment and hatred. That Yap Liangshan was too much. That day at the restaurant, he humiliated her and even refused to let her buy a third-grade talisman. Now, he even wanted to take away the honor that belonged to her. What right did she have? No, no. Master Yin Xiu had taken a fancy to a young genius talisman master. All of this glory belonged to Lu Ruoxuan. She would never let Yi Liangshan take it away from her. Tianguang Ruins, evening. Chapter 1081. The practitioners around the square quickly recognized that it was the Bing Ruo Bowu. Lu Ruoxuan, who appeared on the cloud tower, had dressed up meticulously. Her small face was pale and sorrowful, but she didn't look haggard at all. Instead, she looked even more lovely and pitiful. After she appeared, she opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something. However, tears were already flowing down her cheeks. "I'm sorry. I didn't want to use this method to clear my name, but I really had no choice. I can disregard my own reputation and benefits, but I can't let my sect's reputation be tarnished." She sobbed as she spoke. She looked delicate and sorrowful. Soon, many male practitioners wanted to protect her. "Isn't that Bing Ruobo Wu? She's so pure and kind. Who's so cold-hearted that they wouldn't even let such a pure and kind person go? Don't be afraid, Ruobo Wu. We'll protect you. Ruobo Wu, tell us quickly. Who bullied you?" Lu Ruoxuan seemed to be in a place where she could hear everyone's voices. She showed a grateful expression and said softly, "Thank you for your love for Ruobo Wu. Ruobo Wu will never forget your kindness." Then, she regained her sorrowful expression. I've never offended that person. I really don't know why she's always targeting me. She's ruined my reputation again and again. She's taken away the customers of my shop. Now she's even trying to take away the credit of offering the healing talisman to Mastering Xiao. At this point, Lu Ruoxuan seemed to be unable to bear it. She sobbed and shouted with sorrow. Miss Yu Liangchen, come out and tell me. Why do you have to slander me and take away what belongs to me? I've never offended you. Even if you really hate me or are jealous of me, you can come at me. Why do you have to slander my sect and the reputation of my shop? Sob, sob, sob. The talisman I offered to Master Yin was drawn by me one by one. It contained my painstaking efforts and my admiration for Master Yin since I was young. I was so happy when I heard that my talisman could heal Master Yin's injuries. Why do you have to take away such a small wish and happiness from me? The woman on the Cloud Pagoda's screen cried out sorrowfully. Even a person with a heart of stone would feel pity for her if they saw this scene, and they would even share the same hatred with her. On the Reincarnation Square, many people were cursing Yap Liangshen and lousy number one in the world. There were also people comforting Lu Ruoxuan, believing that she was the one who drew the talisman from Master Yin. He even scolded the number one shop in the world and Yap Liangshen for deceiving the public and slandering others. This time, those who had bought talismans from the number one shop in the world were unhappy. How can you say that Yu Liangshan is a liar? I used his magic talisman, and all my internal injuries are healed. Can the talisman in earth-shattering do it? Yes, I bought a fire attack talisman from the number one shop in the world last time, and then I got a good result in the Sect's monthly test. Even my father praised me. The talismans in the number one shop in the world are indeed better than those in the earth-shattering shop, and they're even cheaper. Chapter 1082. Arrogant and domineering, only knowing how to brag. How can he be compared to Our Lady Ma Wu? Many people heard that Miss Ming Wu was praised by Master Yin and even admitted to giving her a grade 6 spirit weapon. Who does Yu Liangshan think she is? She's just an ugly little girl. She can draw a 3rd grade talisman and was even praised by Master Yin. Are you guys dreaming? Miss Ming Wu, we all support you. Who does that Yu Liangshan think he is? He isn't even worthy to carry your shoes. On the curtain of the Cloud Tower, Lu Ruoxuan smiled gratefully and said with tears in her eyes, "Thank you for your support. I made this announcement because I want to tell Yap Liangshan and her shop that if they have any dirty thoughts, they can come at me. Don't stand behind me and try to take everything away from me. I, Lu Ruoxuan, will never retreat." Mu Yin had just pulled Luo Yunxiao to Tianguang ruins when she encountered such a scene, as well as Lu Ruoxuan's solemn vow. Her first reaction was to turn around and look at Luo Yunxiao. She chuckled and said, "Little martial ant, your exclusive spot has been taken away." The exclusive position that Mu Yin is talking about is the curtain on the Cloud Tower. Ever since Luo Yunxiao and Senior Zhao's encounter was recorded and publicized by someone using a care talisman, the curtain on the Cloud Tower seemed to have been contracted by Luo Yunxiao. She played it back and forth every day. But every day, countless people stopped to watch and cheer. Now that Lu Ruoxuan spent a lot of money to make an announcement on the Cloud Pagoda's curtain, she naturally pushed the original Luo Yunxiao down. However, the effect of this announcement was obviously very good. In particular, Lu Ruoxuan's pitiful and tear-stained face was especially deceiving. Generally speaking, as long as the male cultivators saw her shed a few tears, they would naturally stand on her side. Luo Yunxiao turns her head to look at Mayan, indifferently saying, "How do you plan to deal with it?" At this moment, Luo Yunxiao's appearance was blurry and hard to leave an impression. The golden words Luo Yunxiao had also disappeared. As such, even though he had appeared in the Tianguang ruins, no one was tempted. Hearing his question, Mayan smirks. "What's there to deal with?" "Young martial uncle, can I borrow your jade key?" "Oh, that's right, I still need to borrow the crystal stones from you. I'll pay you back double what I owe you." After a moment of silence, Luo Yunxiao took out the jade key and handed it to her. Mine took it and smiled. Little martial uncle, please stay away from me, lest you go up the cloud pagoda in person. If someone recognizes you, we won't even be able to leave Tianguang ruins. Luo Yunxiao seemed to look at her helplessly, but in the end, she still left and disappeared into the crowd. Muyan quickly activates Luo Yunxiao's Jade Key. Why did he use Luo Yunxiao's Jade Key? This was because he was a verified user of Tianguang ruins. Only authenticated users could spin crystals on the Cloud Pagoda screen, especially since Luo Yunxiao's level was much higher than Lu Ruoxuan's. Muyan raises her eyebrows, revealing a cold smile. On the curtain of the Cloud Pagoda, Lu Ruoxuan was still speaking in a soft voice, swearing that she looked forward to meeting Master Yin, how her talent in drawing talismans was praised by Master Yin, and how grateful she was to the people who supported her. Seeing more and more people supporting her in the square, some people even shouted that they would no longer buy talismans from the #1 shop in the world and would only buy earth-shattering talismans. Chapter 1083. However, in the next second, Lu Ruoxuan's smile froze on her face. She discovered that her beautiful and delicate image had disappeared from the cloud tower high up in the sky, the place where everyone's attention was focused on. What replaced it was the face of Yap Liangqin, which could only be considered as a pretty face. However, even though it was a pretty face, when she laughed, her eyes seemed to be lit up by something. A kind of soul-stirring aura, and an aura that looked down on the world suddenly bloomed on that pretty face of hers. The square became silent for a moment. No one knew if they were surprised by this sudden change, or if they were shocked by the aura of the girl on the screen. Then, they heard a voice that sounded like the sound of nature. Lu Ruoxuan, what the fuck are you trying to say after crying and blindly making gestures for half a day? Your talisman drawing ability is better than mine? Yap Liangqin, and pretending to be you? Stealing the guest of the mountain-breaking school? It is very simple. Whose talisman drawing ability is better? Who is a fake? And who is the real talent? Wouldn't it be clear at a glance after a competition? The girl on the screen curled up the corner of her lips. Her smile was getting more and more carefree, but it was also full of sarcasm. Tomorrow morning, you and I will compete in drawing third realm talismans in this square. Lu Ruoxuan, if you don't dare to come, then you can forget what you said about me and the world's #1 shop. One word. Swallow it back. Dead silence. It was a dead silence. Then there was a huge wave of noise and cheers. Yap Liangqin is so powerful. Haha, Yap Liangqin is right. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Why don't we just compete in drawing talismans? Lu Ruoxuan, and earth-breaking and sky-shocking. Do you dare to compete? Do you dare to compete? The whole square was filled with shouts of, do you dare to compete? Lu Ruoxuan was hiding in the corner, holding her jade key. Her face was pale, her body was shaking, and her eyes were full of despair. On the square, the shouts of, I am the world's #1, had completely overwhelmed the shouts of Lu Ruoxuan's supporters. Luo Yunxiao was standing in the crowd who were shouting Yu Liangqin's name. She was looking at the lively and flamboyant girl on the screen. His eyes were bright, and the corners of his mouth curled up into a faint smile. That was a person who, no matter how he looked, no matter where he was, couldn't conceal his brilliance. It was like the most blazing sun, so warm, so resplendent, so desirable. However, once one got close, it would turn one into ashes, consigned to eternal damnation. The next morning had not yet arrived, but the entire reincarnation square was already densely packed with people. Everyone from the Xiaorao sect, including their master and Luo Yunxiao in disguise, went to the Tianguang ruins. To put it nicely, the entire sect was mobilized to support little junior sister. 7 in the morning had passed, but Lu Ruoxuan had yet to appear. Luo Yu sneered and said, yesterday, some people were in tears and said beautiful words, but today, they don't even dare to accept the challenge. The supporters of the #1 shop in the world immediately became arrogant. They laughed loudly and ridiculed Bing Ruoxuan as an embroidered pillow who only knew how to cry. Lu Ruoxuan's supporters were angry, but Lu Ruoxuan ran away, leaving them no room to support her. Lu Ruoxuan finally arrived when it was past midnight. Chapter 1084. Seeing Mayan, she immediately scolded, "Yi Liangshun, it's all because of you that junior sister Xian was frightened and had a fever last night. But in order to accept your challenge, she had to come even if she was sick. If anything happens to our junior sister Xian, the mountain-breaking sect will not forgive you." She had a fever last night because of the challenge. Lu Ruoxuan's illness came at the right time, isn't it? Hearing Lu Yu's mockery, Lu Ruoxuan's body swayed. There was no trace of blood on her face. She indeed looked very sick. Her voice was hoarse, and she said with a sobbing tone, "Yi Liangshun, my body is weak today. I already knew that I would lose to you, but I will not run away." Mayan waved her hand and interrupted her. "Nonsense. Wait until you lose to me." Lu Ruoxuan choked. She almost couldn't maintain that weak and stubborn expression. She knew that she had no choice but to accept the challenge today. Otherwise, the mountain-breaking sect and Lu Ruoxuan would become the laughingstock of the entire Tianguang ruins. But she also knew that she couldn't compare to Yi Liangshun. She had already heard that someone had personally seen Yi Liangshun draw a third-grade talisman. Helplessly, Lu Ruoxuan could only come up with this method of pretending to be sick. "It's not that I can't compare to you, I just happen to have a weak body. Even if I lose to you, it's not because I'm weaker than you." She was already prepared to deal with all kinds of mockery and questions. Who knew that this Yi Liangshun wouldn't play by the rules? He actually said that he would let her lose first. Lu Ruoxuan almost broke her teeth from gritting them. But the talisman paper, the brush, and the table were all prepared. Thousands of eyes were staring at her. She was already on the fire. She had to draw. Mayan smiled and walked forward to take the brush and the talisman paper. She lowered her head and started drawing. "The world's #1 shop is the best. Yi Liangshun, I, young Master Gua, am willing to take all of the third-grade healing talismans you drew. Yi Liangshun, don't be nervous. Draw slowly. We all believe in you." Mayan's encouragement could be heard from time to time in the reincarnation square. However, they had only shouted a few words when Mu Yin stopped her brush and casually pressed the completed talisman on the testing stone. The testing stone immediately lit up with a dazzling light. Everyone at the reincarnation square was dumbfounded. "You're done. Wait, another quarter of an hour? I don't think so. Holy shit, is he drawing a third-grade talisman? I thought it was a game." I've long heard that Yi Liangshun, the owner of the #1 shop in the world, is talented in drawing talismans. His drawing speed is very fast and the quality is very good. But I always thought that it was an exaggeration. Oh my god, that was a third-grade talisman. Now, I believe that all the talismans in the #1 Under Heaven shop were all drawn by our Grandmaster Yi alone. Oh, Grandmaster Yi is mighty. Grandmaster Yi, can you sell this talisman to me? I, eldest young Master Gua, will always support you. After the initial shock and excitement, everyone turned to look at Lu Ruoxuan. Lu Ruoxuan looks at the talisman that Mayan had just pressed on the testing stone. She simply can't believe her eyes. At this moment, she seems to feel the fear and despair of being forced into a hopeless situation by Jun Mayan on the windless square. Lu Ruoxuan absent-mindedly picked up the brush, her fingertips trembling. She hung it in the air for a long time, but she couldn't draw a single talisman. Chapter 1085. Her eyes are full of mockery and disdain, as if she has seen through everything. There's also disdain and arrogance, as if she's looking at an ant. In a trance, Lu Ruoxuan feels as if she's seeing Jun Mayan again. Ever since she met this person, her life has never been smooth. That stunning girl who appeared out of nowhere, as if she was born to be her nemesis, to take away all her light. Now, she's finally escaped from June Mayan, but she meets Yi Liangchen. She's as stunning as June Mayan, as willful and flamboyant as June Mayan. She's the same as June Mayan, taking away everything from her, forcing her into a desperate situation, leaving her with nothing. Wow! Lu Ruoxuan completely collapses. She drops the pen in her hand, squats on the ground, and bursts into tears. Her cries are heart-wrenching, as if she's been greatly wronged. The supporters of the number one under heaven shop snorts, crying, crying, crying. She only knows how to cry. Does she think that as long as she cries, she can solve all her problems and make others forgive all her mistakes? But Lu Ruoxuan's moronic supporters, especially the disciples of the mountain-breaking sect, feel sorry for her. In this world, how many people can casually draw third-grade talismans? Even if you, Yi Liangchen, have outstanding talent, can you bully people as you please? That's right. Even if Miss Ming Wu really can't draw third-grade healing talismans, she was indeed praised by Master Yin. She won't be rewarded. Those rewards were personally sent by Steward Wang of the Yin Manor. Oh, by the way, I just saw Steward Wang coming. If you don't believe me, you can ask him yourself. Soon, a fat middle-aged man is pushed out from the crowd. His face is very unsightly. He fiercely glares at the crying Lu Ruoxuan. When he turns his head, he meets Mayan's faint smile, as if she knows everything. Suddenly, the fat on his body trembles. His forehead is covered with cold sweat. There's only one thought in his mind. If Master knows that he let Lu Ruoxuan pretend to be this Yi Liangchen, his future will be completely ruined. No, he absolutely can't let Master know. He heard that Master has found a talisman that can heal injuries. Lu Ruoxuan is already useless, so there's no need to look for a third-grade talisman. As long as he could get over this, his future would be safe. Thinking of this, Steward Wang said resolutely, "The talisman that was presented to Master that day was personally presented by me. Whether it was Miss Bing Ruo or Miss Wu who drew it, who knows better than me?" Master's health improved after using the talisman drawn by Miss Ma Wu. This is absolutely true. Immediately after, he coldly looks at Mayan and says in a stern voice, "Where did you come from, little rascal? Relying on your little talent in drawing talismans, you actually dare to impersonate Miss Ma Wu and steal her credit." A sinister and evil person like you actually wants to have a relationship with Master. This is simply unforgivable. Guards, go and report to the district master of the 3 lower districts. Tell him that Yi Liangchen and Laozi is the number one in the world store are frauds and slandering other stores. As the steward of the Yin family, I suggest that the ward master erase their popularity points and expel them from the Tianguang ruins. As soon as these words came out, Lu Ruoxuan supporters naturally cheered loudly. Chapter 1086. Damn it! Why did you expel our Master Yi Liangchen? I'm still waiting to buy Master Ye's talismans. That's right, Lu Ruoxuan can't even draw a third-grade talisman. Our Master Yi has nothing better to do than to impersonate her. Even if you're the steward of the Yin residence, you can't distort the truth. Yun Ruhan and the others had an ugly look on their faces. They fiercely surrounded Steward Wang. Even if their popularity points were deducted to negative, they would still accept it. Bullying their junior sister? No way. Chiwen grabbed Luo Yunxiao's clothes and shouted anxiously, "Master, Master, quickly go and support our Maya Yanyan. I definitely won't allow anyone to bully our beautiful face, especially a fat, ugly pig." Luo Yunxiao glanced at it and said lightly, "It's not our turn to take action." Chiwen was about to ask what she meant. She saw more than 10 people wearing the same clothes as Steward Wang coming in from the crowd. "Ah, that's Steward Yin?" Someone exclaimed. "That's Master Yin Xiu's most capable person." "Oh, could it be that Master Yin is here to support Miss Bing Ruo? Even Steward Yin is here?" They saw Steward Yin walking towards the center of the reincarnation square with an imposing manner. Lu Ruoxuan's supporters immediately became complacent. They thought that Steward Yin must be here to clear Lu Ruoxuan's name and punish Yi Liangchen like Steward Wang did. Someone even shouted at Stewardine, "Stewardine, Miss Bing Ruo is too pitiful. You must help her. She's such a kind person. She can't be bullied like that." Steward Yin slowly walked to Lu Ruoxuan. Lu Ruoxuan raised her head and showed him a strong and weak smile. Steward Yin's mouth hooked. Then he lifted his foot and kicked Lu Ruoxuan away. He gritted his teeth and said, "She's pitiful and kind? A person who has no bottom line, falsely claiming other people's credit, shameless and unrepentant. And you have the nerve to say she's pitiful and kind? Bah!" After he finished scolding, he quickly walked in front of Mu Yin and bowed deeply to her. "Miss Yi, I apologize for the lack of discipline in the Yin residence. I really didn't expect that there would be such a traitorous thing. How dare you put your credit on that shameless woman?" As he spoke, his sharp gaze ruthlessly swept past manager Wang like a knife. When Steward Yin sent Lu Ruoxuan flying with a kick, Steward Wang's face was already deathly pale and his whole body was trembling. At this moment, being swept by Steward Yin like this, he was instantly frightened out of his wits. His knees went soft and he fell to the ground with a plop. There was even a stinky yellow liquid gushing out from between his legs. However, Tingguang ruins, which loved cleanliness, swept away the stench in the blink of an eye. As for whether the real body of the Tingguang ruined Steward Wang, no one knew. As for the people in the reincarnation square, they were in an uproar. What does Stewardine mean? Could it be that the person who really offered the talisman to Master Yin Xiao and received his praise was not Bing Ruo, but Yi Liangchen? It must be. This young master has also used the third-grade variant healing talisman from the #1 shop in the world. The effect is definitely not comparable to an ordinary third-grade talisman. That you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.